Dakol. Kyle. Dakol.
Good morning, everyone. It's a rainy Friday morning. Have a great day ahead. Welcome to this webinar series brought to you by Jesse M. Robredo, Institute of Development Graduate School.
The program will begin in a short while. To our dear participants, thank you for being patient with us. We request all of you to please stand by and keep your microphone on mute. So we are just waiting for the speaker for today, Sir Henry.
Yes, and while waiting for the others to join, let us read first the following house rules presented on your screen, so that we will be having a full information on what are the rules and regulations that we are about to follow in this webinar. Okay, Ma'am Christy, will you please read the house rules, please? Ma'am Christy? All right, so my dear participants, while waiting for the others to join, here are the house rules. Number one, we have to actively participate and display proper behavior. The first reminder is to listen attentively. Number two, keep an open mind. Respect co-participants. Give attention only to things related to the meeting. And do not hesitate to ask questions and clarification. The chat box in Zoom controls concerns and or queries will be entertained during the open forum.
Okay, next we have be prepared and stay prepared. Situate in a quiet and organized environment to avoid distractions. Prepare a backup plan in case of any interruptions.
Okay, so another one, be audible and be visible. If asked to speak, speak loud enough to heard. And if not asked to speak, keep yourself muted at all times. And the other one po is always toggle video on in focus throughout the meeting. And we are hoping for the safety of everyone and to our classmates and to the committee members and to all participants. Have a good morning to all of you. So I want to repeat that once again, ladies and gentlemen, do not hesitate to ask questions and clarifications through our chat box in Zoom controls. Your concerns and our queries will be entertained during the open forum after today's speaker later on.
Then if asked to speak, don't forget to unmute your microphone and speak loud enough to be heard.
Okay, so yun po ang house rules natin, ang ating pong mga patakaran para po sa ating webinar series starting today. So we are just waiting for the committee to give us the go signal to start our program this morning. All right, good morning once again, Ma'am Christy. Good morning po everyone. So I guess we have already met the number of participants for us to start. For those of you just joining us, we would like to extend our warmest welcome. It's gratifying to look around and see many familiar faces as well.
Yes, sir, that's a pleasing welcome to what I know is going to be a great conference. A powerful, relevant, interesting, and high converting webinar sounds like a dream, right? And
Yes.
we all gathered here together for this one goal and one dream. To not prolong the agony of waiting, let's get started. I am Chrissy Joy Linaha,
This is Henry Maceda.
and we are the masters of ceremonies.
Daniel Scott Lamont once said, public office is a public trust. As part of the university's credo to create knowledge and innovation to promote inclusive development, to promote as well as globalization, the Masters in Public Administration students of Jesse M. Robredo Institute of Governance and Development in coordination with Bicol University would like to extend our gracious welcome to all of you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Bicol University Jesse M. Robredo Institute of Governance and Development Graduate School webinar series entitled WebPad 2021, Securing the Country's Future Through Quality and Ethical Public Service in the Local Government.
Ladies and gentlemen, this two-day webinar will give emphasis on reassuring the country's future through quality public service in the local government and aims to, number one, provide theories and research-based knowledge on the different work ethics and accountability of public officials and public employees.
And second, to promote awareness and the relevance of the Bandanas Garcia ruling and its effects on the future of local government service in 2022 and beyond.
Lastly, appreciate the value of studying and understanding public administration relative to the development of the country.
Okay, so since this event is deemed significant, let us all officially commence our gathering today by asking divine intervention or an opening prayer. This shall be followed by expressing our patriotism as the technical team present to us an audiovisual presentation of the Philippine National Anthem.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much. So to formally begin with the first part of our webinar series, let's hear words of welcome from our respected research and community mobilization coordinator, none other than Dr. Rosemary T. Frias.
Good morning and happy Friday to all our Zoom participants and live streaming in the Facebook for our very special activity today and tomorrow. It all started with a goal to go beyond the virtual classroom, to reach out and create awareness among our dear public employees and officials, among our public administrators, and to our dear students on two very essential topics: ethics and integrity in public service, and the Mandanas Garcia Supreme Court ruling. Although public ethics is a perennial topic, but it is time-honored because of its relevance to ensure integrity in the government service and create standards of professionalism in the public sector, while the latter topic is a game changer in the fiscal affairs of the local government units come 2022. The theme of our webinar is securing the country's future through quality and ethical public service in the local government. We have invited two highly distinguished public officials in our region who will share their knowledge, expertise, and experiences about the topics. We are also fortunate because key officials of Bicol University will also be joining us in this activity. They will be properly introduced later. At this onset, my big congratulations to our very inspired and motivated students enrolled in the Master in Public Administration program this mid-year of 2021. They are taking the subjects human resource, ethics and accountability, and local government. It is through their united efforts, together with Bicol University, Jesse M. Robredo Institute of Governance and Development, that made this webinar series a reality. Please allow me to welcome everyone. May we all experience a fruitful 2 half-day webinar. May we all be well and safe always. Thank you, and again, welcome.
That was indeed a very heartwarming welcome, Ma'am Rose. Thank you so much.
At this point, of course, this virtual gathering wouldn't be complete without his presence. So please help me welcome the OIC Dean of the College of the Bicol University Graduate School, none other than Dr. Herbert B. Rosana.
Friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everyone, pleasant everyone, and safe morning to all of you. To our esteemed University President, Dr. Arnulfo M. Mascareñas, to the Director of the Jesse Robredo Institute, Dr. Noime Ibo, to the Associate Director, Dr. Rosemary T. Frias, to our dear faculty members of the Jesse M. Robredo and of the Graduate School, and to our beloved students, most especially, because this is actually meant for all of you. So I would like to take this opportunity to deliver this inspirational message and I hope that you will bear with me because I am inside my home because I thought that there will be a power outage in the office. So I decided to stay home this morning so that I can deliver this message for all of you. So once again, good morning. I would like to express my appreciation for our organizers, especially of this webinar, for coming up with a very relevant topic about quality and ethical public leadership. Two important but different concepts. When we say quality and ethical, these are two different concepts. And what makes this topics interesting is that it focuses on the future. I think that for the past few years, there have been people who advocated a futuristic type of thinking. So if you are a fan of CNN, usually if you watch the segment or the program of Christian Amanpour, at the end of his at the end of her presentation, she would always say, "What if?" So he would always ask the question, "What if?" So that is an example of futuristic thinking, because while presenting the event, while presenting the phenomenon at hand, the anchor of the program is trying to challenge the viewers to think differently. What if things are different? What if things are not this way? What if we make the future a different future from what it is today? So this is anchored on the idea that what we think today will have an impact on how the future will be directed. But the question comes to my mind, is it possible to deliver quality public service without being ethical? Posible ba na maging quality yung service natin pero hindi tayo ethical? I think sa maybe if you observe, maraming ganyan. These people are very knowledgeable, very talented, and they have the skill in public service and public management, pero they lack in one character, which is ethical. Now, another question, is it possible to be ethical in public service and yet deliver less quality outcome? Siguro posible din yon kasi hindi na ako magbabanggit ng mga pangalan ng mga past administration of the Philippines. May mga ganyang administration, di ba? They underscore the importance of quality, ethical public service, but they were not able to deliver what are the deliverables in public administration. So, kumbaga, these are two opposite direction. One group has the technical capability. They have all the qualities of what a leader should be. Then, meron namang isang grupo na they are righteous, they underscore the importance of ethics, but at the same time, they do not possess the quality of a true public servant and a true leader. That's why ang challenge ngayon sa atin is, I think that we have seen both of this, but seldom do we see leaders who merge these two qualities of being ethical and at the same time able to deliver quality service to their constituent. Leaders are important people, and you may not realize it, and you may not appreciate the role of leaders, but leaders are responsible for leading society towards its achieved or intended goals. They are the lighthouse that guides the way. They are the force that drives the organization to achieve its goals. And the challenge for us is how to provide the striking balance between quality service, quality public service, and ethical practice. That's why I remember the ancient philosopher Aristotle. He formulated the principle of the golden mean. Because itong mga Greek philosophers, when they were discussing about what is the ideal life, what is a happy life, so sabi ni Aristotle, the happy life is when you find the golden mean, avoiding both the extreme. Because if you are at the end of this extreme, sabi ni Aristotle, your life will not be balanced and your life will be unhappy. That's why we have to avoid extremism, but rather we have to stay in the middle. That's why in public service, quality public service involves two things, quality and at the same time also the ethical practice. And we have to find the middle ground between these two, and then be able to deliver what is expected of us. And I noticed in your webinar, the list of the topics that will be discussed in this webinar, there are two important things that you will be discussing. One is the ethical practice, which will be delivered by our CSE director. And then the other one was about something about the Mandanas ruling ba yun? The Mandanas ruling. And these are truly very important. Kasi nga, yung aspiration, di ba, when the Duterte administration started, they floated the idea of federalism. Pero in my own opinion, actually, there's no need for federalism. And actually, it's a dangerous proposition, actually, because you do not know what will be. It's a high-risk decision if you will shift to federalism. Kasi ang federalism kasi, bago yan nabuo, may mga ano yan, may mga background ano yan. Dapat sa culture nila ay kung sa kultura nila, meron silang strong identity yung kanilang mga groupings dapat. Pero sa Pilipinas, parang malabo yun. Wala tayong historical basis for federalism. But the principles, kung ano yung ina-advocate ng mga federalist, actually, nandiyan na yan sa ating batas, di ba, yung reform ng DILG law natin, di ba? That was 3 decades ago na nga yata yun, di ba? Nakapalaman yan doon yung tinatawag natin na devolution, yung decentralization ng government, giving autonomy to the local government. Ito ang dapat palakasin, yung pagbibigay ng autonomy sa mga local government. And this Mandanas ruling actually is a milestone in that quest of the local government officials to have control over taxation and how they are going to use their resources. Kasi noon, yung mga resources natin ay hindi natin napapakinabangan. Like for example, halimbawa, tayo mga Bicolano, we always complain about electricity. Totoo naman talaga. Pero what is ironic, because one of the resources for generating energy is found in the Bicol region. Kasi marami tayong mga dormant volcano na meron siyang mga energy na yung steam niya pwedeng i-convert into energy. Kaya lang ito ay ine-export ito. Because under the presumption, under the principle that we are one nation and that the whole nation should benefit from the resources. Kumbaga, nawala yung primary emphasis on the local kasi nga yung wealth ng local na i-distribute siya to the national. Pero with this Mandanas ruling and with this emphasis on the devolution and decentralization, yung pagbibigay ng autonomy sa mga local government units, this will provide now the opportunity for the local government officials how they will be able to use and make use of their resources. Kumbaga, biglang naibigay sa kanila. Yung sabi nga may kasabihan tayo, di ba, na be careful what you wish for because it might come true, di ba? So mag-ingat tayo sa mga inaasam-asam natin kasi baka magkatotoo talaga yung inaasam-asam natin. Now the question is, kung magkatotoo yung mga inaasam-asam natin, are we really prepared to make use of this power, to make use of this wealth, to utilize these resources? Mayroon ba tayong kakayahan yan? Yan ang number one na tanong. Kasi ang development kasi, sabi nga natin, decentralization will help development and of the local government of the regions. Yan ang presumption yan. That is the main assumptions of the devolution. So with the local government units able to utilize their resources, they will be able to develop their constituency. Kaya lang ang problema nga niyan, ang challenge niyan is when these powers and functions will be devolved to the local government units, ang tanong, are they ready? For example, halimbawa, are they ready to manage their yung health nila, mga hospitals, di ba? Are they ready to manage their social services? Yan. So, etc. Yung mga infrastructure, all of this will be devolved to the local government units. Kaya naalala ko yung story, kwento na sa mga bata, yung the Midas touch, di ba? Si King Midas noon, he was trying to wish na sana maging mayaman siya at sana lahat ng mahawakan niya will be turned into gold. So nagkatotoo yung kanyang wish. So lahat ng hinahawakan niya nagiging gold until such a time na na-realize niya that it was not good. Why? Because even the food that he is going to eat is turned into gold. So hinahawakan niya, naging gold yon. So in other words, itong story ni King Midas is a good parallel story or metaphor para sa pag-implement ng Mandanas ruling. And I wish na hindi tayo, ang mga leaders natin ay hindi maging katulad ni Midas, but rather will be people who are responsible enough and capable enough to manage these resources. Kaya very important ito. I will underscore yung dalawa. Capability, the quality of public leadership, then pangalawa yung ethical. Quality, bakit? Because they have to really manage their resources. Ang pag-manage ng resources ay hindi madali. To have plenty, kaya hindi madali ang maging mayaman, di ba? You wish to become rich, but being rich is not really Kaya nga minsan during sa mga panahon na medyo magaan ang ating minsan nagbibiro ako sa sarili ko, sabi ko, what if manalo ako sa loto ng 200 million? 'Di ba? Siyempre, everybody would want to experience that. Pero nag-introspect talaga ako. Inisip ko talaga sa sarili ko, what if talagang mangyari talaga 'yon na manalo ako ng 200 million? The question is, will I be able to manage my 200 million? Will it make me happy? Of course, sa unang tingin mo, happy ka kasi you can buy what you want. But then, you will have to worry about your security. You will have to worry about how you are going to invest your money, your funds. And third, you will have to contend with other people who are also wishing to have your money. And these are the things that will sabi ko, kung manalo ako sa loto, ito yung mga sakit ng ulo na mararanasan ko. So siguro, ito ang dahilan kung bakit hindi ako nananalo sa loto. Pero anyway, okay naman yung sweldo ko. Kumakain naman ako ng tatlong beses sa isang araw. Then, nakakapag-Starbucks naman tayo paminsan-minsan. So sabi ko, maybe this is enough. And maybe, hindi naman maganda yung naghahangad tayo ng napakarami. Kasi, ang tanong niyan, will you really be happy? Because the question is, how are you going to manage it? And what are the troubles it will bring to you? Kaya itong Mandanas ruling na ito, this is a blessing for all the local government units. And the challenge now is how to be capable as leaders, and at the same time, how are we going to be ethical? Kasi ang nakakalungkot po dito is, kahit maraming safety nets ang ating government, ang corruption ay palaging nandiyan dyan, because I believe that corruption is given to every human being. Wala ni isang tao dito sa atin na makapagsasabi na walang bahid ang ating mga intensyon, ang ating mga isip na kumita ng pera, di ba? Although magkaiba-iba lang yung degree. May mga taong sobrang mapaghangad, may mga tao namang naghahangad lang, di ba? Parang ganun yun. It's given in human nature. And that is, if you don't want to accept it, then fine. But in reality, lahat ng tao, in the deepest recesses of their minds, they have always this tendency to acquire. Kaya ang temptation ng corruption ay palaging nandiyan dyan. That's why the only way to defeat corruption, two ways, yung pag-build natin ng sarili nating character, yung sabi nga natin, kahit hindi naman tayo perfect 100%, at least within the corners of our minds, meron tayong ganyang fear na we fear God, we fear the judgment, and we have that sense of love and responsibility for our people. Then second, dapat yung government natin, gumagawa din sila ng mga batas, mga safety nets in order to protect or prevent people from committing corruption. Kasi maraming pera, kasi please take note po na ang corruption does not start with the corruption does not start with the public officials. Actually, it also starts with the private sector. Yung mga contractor, yung mga sellers, mga suppliers, di ba? Kasi minsan yung mga suppliers, mga contractors, sila yung actually nag-i-entice sa mga government officials na mag-corrupt. And alam mo naman, siyempre, it's natural pag nandiyan ka sa business, you want to sell your goods, you want to sell your services. And sometimes may mga sellers din, may mga merchants din na unethical din. They will try to entice you with bribes or with percentage and whatever. So diyan nagsisimula ang corruption. So two ways yan. Kaya minsan, let us not blame our public officials na sila lang ang may kasalanan. Although, kung iisipin, sila yung may mas mabigat na pananagutan because they have the moral responsibility, because being public officials, they have to practice ethical standards. Pero, nakakalimutan natin na ipinpoint din yung blame o kaya yung responsibility doon sa mga sellers, mga merchants, mga contractors. Kasi sila rin dapat they should also practice ethical standards sa business nila. Kaya nga sabi baga sa Bible, sa Gospels, na napakahirap daw sa isang mayaman ang makapasok sa kaharian ng langit. Pero let's not take it literally, but let's take it figuratively, kasi may meaning sa likuran ng salita from the words of the gospel. There's a meaning behind it that we need to discover, na parang ipinaparating doon sa atin na when we have plenty of resources, there is always the temptation to corruption, and it will corrupt our character. And from the eschatological point of view, there is a last judgment, and that every person will be judged according to his deeds. So hindi yan madadala ng panalangin lang ng kahit sino, but because every human being is responsible. We are all responsible for our actions. And yan ang I would like to inspire you, kasi ang mga nakikinig sa atin ay mga young leaders, not so young leaders, and you still have a future ahead of you. And I hope that you will harness your quality, kaya yung mga estudyante natin sa graduate school, sinasabi ko, when you enroll in graduate school, do not only think of the promotion, do not only think of the credentials that you will get, but most especially make every moment of it. So take advantage of every moment, because that moment is your opportunity to gain skills and to gain knowledge, so that you will enhance the quality of your service, mai-enhance mo yung quality mo bilang tao, and then after you graduate, you become a different person. Don't worry about promotions, don't worry about credentials, because it goes along with your studies. Ako nasasabi ko ito because I'm already old. I'm now in my 50s, 54. So in other words, marami na tayong napagdaanan, and we can say that hindi talaga mahalaga hindi mahalaga yung tawag natin. When we always think of diploma, we always think of credentials, parang it's nothing actually. Because when you work hard, and when you are dedicated to your work, all of these things that we are wishing for will just come. Kasi yung mga promotions na nakikita natin sa iba, dumarating yan because they work for it. And siguro when they receive it, hindi naman sila nag-iisip ng diploma lang, but they think of how they will harness their own capability. And second, yung ethical values natin. I hope that all of us will develop that kind of ethical values. So before I close this, I would like to share one anecdote. One time when I was in the faculty room and I have my colleagues were there, so we were having these conversations. Sabi ko sa kanila, what if all of us are working in the munisipyo? What if all of us are City Hall employees? And nakita natin na merong lagayan, and everybody is receiving a certain portion of it. Now, if you are the employee, what will you do? So, halos lahat sila nagsabi na tatanggap sila. Sabi naman ng isa, kung hindi ko yun, sir, tatanggapin, saan mapupunta yun? Kasi natural naman na yung mga nagbibigay talaga sila, yung mga suppliers, mga contract, nagbibigay talaga sila. So, kung hindi ko yun tatanggapin, ibang tao ang makikinabang noon, itanggapin ko na lang. So, these are just examples, di ba? These are just examples of how human nature can be corrupted. No matter how good we are, sometimes there is that opportunity na natutwist yung ating moral reasoning, yung ating values. That's why I will go back again to the words of Aristotle of the golden mean. That's why if we are to aspire for something, let us aspire for the golden mean. Na sana naman wag tayong maging masyadong napakahirap na naghihikahos, at sana naman wag naman tayo yung sobrang yaman na itinatapo na lang natin yung pera natin. We should always stay at the middle, because when we are in the middle, that's the time that we are able to harness our ethical perspective. Mas diyan na i-enhance, nagkakaroon ng pagkakataon na maitanim sa puso natin yung what is to be ethical, what is to be just, and what is to be good, and what is to be fair to everybody. So, without much ado, medyo napahaba na ang aking pagsasalita. Nakalimutan ko na. Akala ko nasa classroom ako. I would like to thank the organizers, and especially the Jesse M. Robredo, for spearheading this webinar. And actually, they have already organized several webinars in the past. And I would like to commend the Jesse M. Robredo for taking this chance and for being active in disseminating knowledge to the public. So good morning po, and thank you very much. Keep safe. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Dr. Herbert, for that heartfelt message. Your presence and support is highly appreciated. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, moving right along, it is now my pleasure and privilege to call on the Bicol University President to deliver his inspirational message. Everyone, Dr. Arnulfo M. Mascareñas.
Thank you very much, Henry and Christy. Akala ko wala na akong oras na matitira. Inubos na yata ni Herbert yung oras para sa akin, ano? But anyway, I think listening to Herbert, he should have been one of the resource persons in today's webinar of the Robredo Institute. But I'd like to thank Herbert for sharing your inner thoughts about the two topics. Of course, to our director of the Robredo Institute, Dr. Noemi Ibo, to the OIC of the Graduate School, Dr. Herbert Rosana, to the Associate Dean of Robredo Institute, Dr. Rose Frias, to our faculty members and staff, to our students of the Graduate School and Robredo Institute, to the participants and FB streamers, friends, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And before I forget, to our two esteemed resource speakers, Attorney Daisy Punsalan Bragais of the Commission of Civil Service, and Attorney Arnaldo Escobar, the Assistant Regional Director of the DILG Region 5. Good morning. I once heard this striking line, which has long stayed with me. In a world full of similar, be the difference. Indeed, the world tells us to conform in so many ways. There is nothing wrong with conformity. Conformity breeds order. Conformity creates systems. When one is nonconformist, what usually happens is the conformist becomes an outcast, even a deviant. The idea of an ethical public service seems to have become nowadays more of an afterthought rather than the norm. If one conforms to the ideals of ethical public service, then one becomes a rare breed, a non-conformist to the usual ways of the world. What are the ways of the world in terms of ethical public service? Well, with the world, or with the way the world is being run nowadays by self-proclaimed leaders and opportunists, public service is exactly the difference of everything that's good, quality, and ethical. If we are to be fatalistic about it, we will definitely dwell on the depressing thought that oftentimes what's unethical is glorified and rewarded, and quality and ethical service becomes not the norm, but the difference. In a world full of similar, it pays to be the difference. But be prepared for your choice. Be prepared to earn not the easy way out, but the hard and sacrificing road. It's difficult to be ethical when one is surrounded by tempting, unethical choices that somehow rationalizes our fears and silences our conscience. A while ago, Dr. Herbert Rosana said that it's a common practice for suppliers or for contractors to give something to the heads of agencies. But I would say that although it's the norm, be the difference. Because I stick on this adage that when everybody is lying, stay honest. In a world full of similar, again, I repeat, be the difference. You may stick out like a sore thumb in a sea of well-trimmed figures. That would happen to you. You may even find yourself in a situation where everyone is pointing their fingers on you. Or you may discover that at the end of the day, you only have yourself to rely on because everyone has abandoned your ship. But no matter how difficult being the difference becomes, it still pays to be the difference. I know that it's very hard with the way our government is being run nowadays. It's really very hard to be the difference. When I recall the documentary films I have watched through those long lockdown days last year, I can vividly remember still the Holocaust, the slaughter of 6 million Jews in concentration camps and death camps being governed by people with more than a decent education, who made no qualms all about exterminating the Jews in what is known as the final solution. Such big hatred for such a small minority group, my God, such big evil plans crafted by intellectuals and nationalists who found nothing wrong in extinguishing lives. All this happened while equally good and upright citizens across the world watched in silence and did nothing. For it is indeed true that for evil to triumph, it simply requires that good men and women do nothing. So exactly when everyone seems to be doing exactly the same unethical things, and you happen to know it deep in your heart, be the difference. Be the difference. Keep on being the good difference. That is my qualifying phrase. Be the good difference, no matter how difficult, no matter how tiring, how seemingly pointless, even if you see that the ones being unethical always get the wealthiest pieces of this world. That's, the unfairness in this world. Those who are doing unethical things are the one who gets the power, who gets the authority, and they're the ones who get even richer and richer. But my advice is for you to always be reminded of this word, to be the difference, to be the good difference still, because the choice you make each day will definitely shape the life you live, and of course, the legacy you will leave behind. So, at this juncture, I'd like to express my congratulations and commendations to the Robredo Institute, headed by Dr. Noemi Ivo, and to the organizers of this timely and truly relevant, purpose-driven webinar. This is very timely because by next year, we're going to elect our new set of officials in the country, from the national to the municipal local government units. We hope that they will stay true to their oath of office to serve their constituencies well and to make a good difference. Thank you and good morning once again.
It's really nice hearing words from you, sir. Most especially this qualifying phrase, be the good difference. So thank you for the wisdom you have imparted to us.
Before we proceed to the introduction of the resource speaker, let me first introduce our participants in today's webinar. So we have 293 in all po na nag-register sa atin, o registered sa ating webinar sa ngayon. But instead of reading the names of the participants, ang gagawin po natin ay i-acknowledge na lang po natin ang lahat ng mga agencies, private organizations, non-government organizations na nag-participate po sa webinar na to. So to start with, I'd like to acknowledge the participation of the employees from DPWH Second Engineering District Airport Site, Legazpi City. We have participants from USTL Santo Domingo. We have from the Department of Justice, Region 5, Department of Agrarian Reform, Regional Office number 5. We have from the Professional Regulations Commission, or PRC, Regional Office number 5, Department of Tourism, Region 5, Pag-ibig Fund, Calabanga, Camarines Sur. We have from DNR, EMB, Rawis, Legazpi, and the Department of Education, Schools Division Office, Tabaco City. We have DSWD, Region 5, Local Government Unit of Kawayan, Masbate. Maayong adlaw sa inyo diha sa Masbate. We have from Bicol University, Open University, National Food Authority, Albay Branch, Local Government Unit of Cabusao, Camarines Sur. From DAR, Masbate, we have HDMF, Sorsogon. We have Pag-ibig Fund, Naga City. We have from DBP Service Corporation, Goa, Camarines Sur. Local Government Unit of Pilar, of Pili, Camarines Sur. We have the Sangguniang Kabataan of Bunga, Bakakay, Albay, and the local government of Pili from the office or from the budget office. We have also from DPWH Regional Office number 5. We have from Witty Minds Academy Incorporated, Hindi, Bakakay, Albay. Thank you po for the participation. We have from DA Jovillar, Pag-ibig Naga City, Pag-ibig Pili, Department of Education, Pili, Camarines Sur. We have from DTI, Naga, from Gio Libon, Albay, from DAR, Santo Domingo. We have from the Sangguniang Kabataan of Legazpi City, Land Transportation Office, DSWD and Islag, from UST, Legazpi City. We have from DepEd, Legazpi City Division, Bicol University College of Education, and of course, from JCM, Robredo Institute of Governance and Development. We have from BUPC, LGU Bulusan, Sorsogon. we have Provincial Agriculture's Office, Masbate. And from the Provincial Agriculture's Office in Cadlan Pili, Camarines Sur. And we have also from Department of Agriculture, Mimaropa, malayo to, Calapan Oriental, Mindoro. From Calapan Oriental, Mindoro. Magandang umaga po sa inyo dyan. From DWCL, Legazpi City. From Local Government of Irusin, Province of Sorsogon. From BUCSSP. And we have from DICT, from Batu, Camarines Sur, DPWH Sorsogon, Penro Albay, Sorsogon State University. We have from LGU Calabanga, National Telecommunications Commission Region 5. We have from CAAP, Airport Site, DepEd Tabaco, BUCBM, Busit. We have SADP, Simbag sa Pag-Asenso, Bakakay Albay. We have from LGU Legazpi, LGU Matnog, Sorsogon. From Bicol Regional Training and Teaching Hospital, kahit po busy sila sa kanilang trabaho sa COVID, nandito pa rin po sila. From Provincial o BPI Film Life, from BPI Film Life. Good morning po sa inyo. And then we have from Leyte Normal University, maayong adlaw, mga tite. Normal University. We have from LGU Castilla, MSWDO Office, Cabangan High School in Legazpi. We have from Kamalig National High School, PPA of Philippine Ports Authority, Bicol. We have from DBP MCF, Tabaco. You have from Saban High School in Owas. LGU Pilar, Partido State University in Camarines Sur. We have BU Tabaco Campus, Department of Health, BUTC, Toyota Albay. Yan. We have LGU Daraga, BUPC, Teachers Education. We have St. Agnes Academy, DepEd SDO Legazpi, Schools Division Office of Legazpi. We have Bicol University Graduate School, FABCOM, DNR, and Thalana Grill Corporation. We have LGU Barcelona, Local Government Unit of Barcelona, Local Government Unit of Aroroy, Masbate, DPWH First Engineering Office, DNR Penro, Masbate. We have from the National Power Corporation, LGU Kataingan, Masbate. We have from Debes, MS Cats. Sorry po, baka na-mispronounce ko yung grupo ninyo. From Commission on Audit, Regional Office number 5, we have from BUIPESR, BUIPESR. Yan. We have Libon Agro-Industrial High School. We have Department, or from Masbate, DepEd Masbate pala, DepEd Masbate. BU Pulangi Campus, Mindanao State University. Malayo din to, from Mindanao State University. From BPA Student Entrepreneurship ng Bicol University, DepEd Naga, BU CSP, and of course, mga kaibigan, Masters in Public Administration students of Jesse M. Robredo Institute of Good Governance. So yan po lahat. Baka may nakalimutan po ako. Sorry for that. I go over all the registrants kanina pong umaga, and we really appreciate your participation in this webinar. Ma'am Christy, back to you. Hi, Ma'am Christy, we can hear you.
Okay po. Okay,
go ahead
once
po.
again, welcome everyone. And we come to the highlight of this virtual gathering. To not prolong the agony of waiting, let's give the floor to Dr. Rosila Dayan Baldosa Bermas for the introduction of our first resource speaker. Ma'am Dayan?
Okay, Dr. Rosella Dayan Baldosa Bermas. Ma'am, please go ahead po. All right, so may technical problem yata po, Ma'am Christy, ang signal ni Dr. Ma'am Rosella Dayan Baldosa Bermas. Isa po siyang Doctor of Medicine. Okay, so while waiting for the introduction of our speaker this morning, baka po may na-miss out ako ng mga participants natin kanina. You can send the name of your groups doon po sa chat box natin for you to be recognized later. All right, so without much ado, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, may I call in the Regional Director of the Civil Service Commission, none other than Attorney Daisy Ponzalan Bragais, Director 3 of the Civil Service Regional Office number 5. Good morning, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Henry, and good morning, everyone. Good morning to the President of the Bicol University, Sir Nolly, and all of you here in this webinar. Since I was not formally introduced, just give you a introduction of myself. I am at present the regional, that's the Director 4 of the Civil Service Commission, Regional Office number 5. I just assumed office as full-fledged regional director last July 14, so it's quite new, but I was the acting regional director since December 16, 2020. And I've been the assistant regional director for almost 11 years of the Civil Service Commission Regional Office number 5. And I finished my studies in the Bicol University. I graduated in 1994, so you will know how you can compute how old I am. And I took my law studies at the University of Nueva Cáceres in Naga City, and I was admitted to the bar in 2000 and kailan ba yun? 2005, I think. That was a long time ago. And of course, I've been in the public service for almost 24 years. And thank you for the invitation. I am honored to be invited in this webinar sponsored by the Jesse M. Robredo Institute dito sa Bicol University. And I'm happy to know that there are a lot of participants in this webinar, not only from the Bicol region, but coming from other regions as far as Mindanao. So thank you for attending this webinar. So I will not be speaking in Bicol later. Hindi pala tayo pure Bicol ang audience. So let me share my screen. Okay, so I was invited to talk on ethics, integrity, accountability in public service. I was listening to our assistant dean of the graduate school and our president, and they were talking about things about ethics, integrity, and accountability. But in my talk, we will not only tackle theories, because I know you've been bombarded with theories in ethics, integrity, and accountability in your classes in the graduate school. But let me share with you the theories that I know and the practices. So from the point of view of the academe, my approach will be that of a pracademic. maybe that's a new term for you. A pracademic is someone who combines the best of academia and practice. So here in this time that we are together now, I will be sharing with you some things about ethics, integrity, and accountability. And of course, this will be grounded on experiences so that we will learn from them, and maybe we can reflect on what we have done when we were facing similar or the same situations. Now, I hope that you can interact with me. You can use the chat box, but knowing that not everyone has two devices, we're just making use of the chat box in order for us to interact. So I'll be taking note of your answers in the chat box. So it's not only me who's going to talk, but of course, I'd like to hear from you using the chat box. Okay, so for a start, let me just ask you, how do you feel today? So can I get one word answers in the chat box on how you are feeling today? It has been raining for days. Do you carry the weather with you, or the weather, your mood depends on the weather? So let me take a look. How are you feeling today? How do you feel today? Okay. Okay, keep them coming. We have, I think, 100 plus in this webinar. How do you feel today? Let me read some of the answers. Feeling good? That's great. Inspired? Wow, that's better. Great and blessed? Feeling great? Oh, a lot of you are feeling great and doing great. And happy and good. That's great to know. Then feeling happy, good, excited? Well, feeling inspired? Awesome. Cold? Yes. Yes, it's a little bit cold. And of course, enthusiastic, inspired, and motivated, grateful. Somebody says he or she feels honored, grateful, excited, motivated, thankful. Okay, so a lot of you are feeling positive today. Ay, parang wala akong nakitang feeling confused. O meron, feeling sluggish. That's okay. Feeling sleepy, but I hope you're not going to fall asleep during this conversation. Okay, so thank you for that. Well, I'm feeling excited also to be seeing all of you. This is our new normal, being with a lot of people in one meeting room, and yet we're not meeting face to face. And that's why for some who do not have their cameras on, if we see each other outside, then I will not be able to recognize you. Okay, feeling tense because of the internet. Yes, I can understand Dr. Priya's feeling, because that is the challenge of our times now. Pag nag-brown out, pag nawala ng internet in the middle of a webinar, medyo, yun nga, hindi magandang feeling. So thank you for that. Now, let me ask you another question. What comes to mind when you hear the word ethics? Kahit one word, two words lang po sa chat box. I'll be willing to listen to you and hear your thoughts. What comes to mind when you hear the word ethics? You've been hearing this, you've been reading about it, you've been practicing it. Okay, there are a lot of responses. We have GMRC. Okay. I'm surprised. Alam pa ng mga kabataan ngayon. GMRC, good manners and right conduct. Okay, thank you. Morals. Okay, keep them coming. Somebody said values, proper. Then morality of right and wrong. Somebody said integrity, knowing what's right and wrong. Then morality, value. So we have a lot of similar answers. Moral, values, behavior, morals, proper conduct and morals, moral principles, okay, behavior, life skills, choosing between right and wrong, and moral principles that govern a person's behavior. Sabi ni Ricky, hi Ricky, andito ka pala. Okay, so thank you for your answers. So tama naman yung mga naisabi ninyong ideas nyo when it comes to ethics. Now, when we speak of ethics, we deal here with issues of right and wrong in human affairs. So tama yung mga sinabi niyo about being right and wrong. But how do you know when you're right and how do you know when you're wrong? Some people would always think that they are always right. Diba? For ano daw yung nung rule sa bahay nyo, the wife is always right. Rule number 2, when the wife goes wrong, refer to rule number 1. I can see Henry nodding his head. So maybe he has this rule in his house too. Okay, that's good to know. So some people would always think that they are right, correct? So ask yourselves, do I always think that I am right? Because when we speak of ethics, it has something to do with how we see things, how we deal with issues of right and wrong. And this has something to do with the everyday affairs that we have, the everyday situation that we are in. How do we decide in situations that makes us choose between right and wrong? But then again, different people have different perceptions of what is right and what is wrong, correct? Because it may be right for me, but you may think that it's not right or it is wrong. Okay, so kasali yan sa word na ethics. And then here's another thing about ethics. This refers to well-founded standards of right and wrong that prescribe what humans ought to do, usually in terms of rights, obligations, benefits to society, fairness, or specific virtue. Yan, medyo mahaba na siya, no? Well-founded standards of right and wrong. So ito daw yung nagpe-prescribe what humans ought to do. Now, in our everyday dealings, have you ever thought of how ethical we are in responding to situations? Now, ang topic nyo dito is about local governance, ethics, integrity, and accountability, specifically in local governments. And we have officials in the local government units. I must admit, it is more challenging dealing with local government units. Why? Because every 4 years, they change leadership. And we have a lot of cases in our office regarding human resource actions given by new set of administrators or new set of leaders that affect the whole LGU. For example, para lang mabigyan kayo ng magandang example, and you can imagine, sino ba dito ang mga nasa, I think I saw people na taga local government unit, and maybe you can relate on this situation. Palagi ito, I noticed this personally in the cases that come to our office. Pag bagong election, maraming appeal on reassignments. Maraming appeal na-float po ako. Maraming appeal na tinanggalan po ako ng trabaho. Because ang situation ganito, na-identify yung empleyado sa dating administrasyon, tapos pag dating ng bagong administrasyon, syempre may kulay, nakulayan ka Kung ano mang kulay ang na-associate sa'yo, then this new administration thinks na hindi ka niya kaalyado. So anong ginagawa? Bibigyan ka ng in the exigency of the service, you are hereby reassigned in the island kung saan, or the coastal barangay o kung saang unit. And then, case in point, sa isang probinsya, from the provincial government, tinapon ng governor doon sa malalayong lugar na ang iba coastal, that would make it difficult for employees to really do their jobs. So yun ang mga situations na nangyayari sa mga local government units. So tatanungin nyo, ano yung ethics? Asan yung ethics ng mga local government officials? Well, dito sa usapin natin, pag-uusapan natin yung what we have control of, kasi hindi po natin kontrolado ang mga local government officials. Ano yung control natin? Control natin ang sarili natin, ang action natin, the way we vote is something we control. Di ba? So, ang tanong ko sa inyo, sino-sino po ba ang mga naiboto ninyo? You don't have to tell me that in the chat. You don't have to say that to everybody. But ask yourself, sino-sino ba yung naiboto ko? Di ba? And ano naman yung ipinakita nitong mga ibinoto ko? Because a lot of people are complaining na bakit ganito, maraming corruption. But ask yourself, kasama ka ba sa nagluklok sa opisyal na ito? Kasi kung kasama ka doon, then kasama ka rin, you only have yourself to blame. Bakit maraming korupsyon? Bakit ganito? Hindi maayos ang pamamalakad ng gobyerno? So focus on things that we can control as citizens, as individuals. So when we speak of ethics here, yes, we will know, ano ba, ethical ba tong nakikita ko sa local government unit na ito? But we also ask ourselves, ako ba ay, kung ako kaya ang nasa ganitong situation, what will I do? So ethics has something to do with standards of right and wrong. Okay? At ito yung titingnan natin whenever we are confronted in a particular situation. So ang tanong ko, if you were, o baka meron sa inyong naka-experience dyan, you can send me a private message if you have. Naka-experience ka bang itinapon ka ng iyong mayor or ng iyong governor because lang sa belief na hindi ka sumuporta sa kanya? And what have you done about it? Did you just accept the movement, or did you fight for your right to be in your position or to be in your place of assignment? So tayo rin, di ba? May mga action din tayo. Now, ethics, right and wrong. Now, in the government, we have what we call the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. This is in Republic Act 6713. At ito po ay naging batas in 1989. That was, buhay na po ba ang karamihan sa inyo noong 1989? This was passed during the time of President Corazon Aquino. So it's been a long time that we have this Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards. But despite having this Code of Conduct, well, isang punto po kasi ito sa mga anti-corruption campaign. Diba? Diba mayroon tayong policy? Do we have the systems, the policies? Yes, we have. But what about the practice? Diba? Ang tanong dyan, ano yung practice natin? Is it in accordance with the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for public officials and employees? So ang sinasabi ko is, it's not enough that we have this code. Dapat bigyan din natin ng attention on how the principles embodied in this code are applied in specific circumstances. Siguro po ito yung hindi masyadong natuunan ng pansin nung mga nagra-run for public office because yan, akala nila since qualified naman ako mag-run sa edad, kaya ko naman, I have the money to fund a campaign. Pero hindi nila siguro natuunan ng pansin na meron tayong Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for public officials and employees. And it's high time that we take a look at this with a different lens. So I hope you as students of Masters in Public Administration or government employees or members of the civil service will look at this with a new lens so that we will learn from these principles and apply them in the everyday dealings that we have with our clients, with our stakeholders. So let's take a look at this Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards and know what is expected of us as civil servants. And for those who are not in the public sector, ano ba yung dapat nyong hanapin sa mga opisyal at empleyado ng mga government agencies? And of course, magkakaroon tayo ng election next year. So take a look at these norms of conduct and see ito ba ay ginagawa nitong kandidatong ito. Okay, so this leads us to the norms of conduct. These are norms that are expected to be practiced by everyone in the government. Now we have 8 norms. So let's just give you a rundown on what these 8 norms are, but we're going to have a discussion on this one by one. First, we have commitment to public interest. Then we have professionalism. then justness and sincerity, then political neutrality, then responsiveness to the public, nationalism and patriotism, commitment to democracy, and simple living. Now let's take a look at this one by one. First, with commitment to public interest. This is, by the way, taken from the provision of RA 6713. That's why it's quite long. I placed it there for us to be able to have a whole picture of what it means to have commitment to public interest. So when we speak of this, public officials and employees shall always uphold the public interest over and above personal interest. All government resources and powers of their respective offices must be employed and used efficiently, effectively, honestly, and economically, particularly to avoid wastage in public funds and revenues. Now we have here public funds and revenues. Let me give you a very good example of this. In my office, it's the Civil Service Commission Region 5. Alam natin kasi na, di ba may budget bawat agency. Maybe you've taken that up in one of your subjects. Every year, nagpo-propose ang mga ahensya ng gobyerno ng mga budget at ito ay pinapa-aprubahan sa Congress. And then of course, when it's signed, the General Appropriations Act is signed by the President, then it becomes binding to all agencies of the government. Now, the CSC is just a very small agency in the whole of the bureaucracy. So, konti rin naman ang naibibigay sa aming pera. So, huwag niyo pong iisipin na sa gobyerno maraming pera. Hindi ho. Kasi nakikita ko siya eh. We have, may tinatawag tayong MOOE. Diyan kinukuha yung maintenance and other operating expenses ng opisina. Parang bahay nyo lang. Kung may sweldo kayo, for example, ng 10,000 a month, diyan yung pinapaikot yung mga gastusin niya sa bahay. Ganon din sa amin sa CSC. Dito rin namin pinapaikot and usually it's not always enough. Sino ba naman ang nabigyan ng maraming budget? So what we do here is we put on our electric fan, okay, or our aircon at 9 o'clock and then naka-automatic off siya at 4 o'clock. Through this, we save public funds dahil nga kulang din naman ito sa amin. And then, ito yung parang iisipin nyo kasi ang nasa isip ng lahat when we have issues like this, parang yung mga bonggang example. Kailangan lang naman natin yung mga maliliit kasi kung ipunin yan, imagine if all government agencies will do that. Every day, 9 o'clock kayo mag-open ng aircon nyo at ilan ang aircon nyo sa opisina? Kung ilang floors kayo, yun din ang matitipid nyo. At malaki po ang, when I saw the data, nung nagsimula kaming gumawa niyan and I saw the data ng natitipid, of course, umakyat naman kasi yung APEC, di ba? Na-notice nyo, biglang umakyat. But imagine if every agency in the government will do that. It just takes, parang may konti lang na kasi mainit din na nagrereklamo yung mga empleyado namin. But what did our union do? Nag-donate ang union namin ng electric fan per unit. Para from 8 to 9, nag-electric fan lang kami at ang baba ng consumption ng electric fan compared sa aircon. So ito yung mga simpleng example para lang makaipakita natin na yes, ito nasa gobyerno tayo but we can show our commitment to public interest especially in public funds na hawak natin. So, pa rin naman efficiently and effectively. Nakakapagbigay pa rin naman kami ng serbisyo. It's just sacrifice lang ng konti from 8 to lalo na ngayon, malamig naman. So, ang iba nga hindi na nag-open ng aircon. So, it becomes institutionalized. Yung pagtitipid, hindi na lang siya yung para lang sa ganito, sa ganyan, but it becomes a way of life for everyone in the agency. So, sample lang yan. Simpleng example ng ating commitment to public interest. So, government resources, dapat pure yan sa gobyerno. Diba? Now, let's go to professionalism. The code speaks of public officials and employees shall perform and discharge their duties with the highest degree of excellence, professionalism, intelligence, and skill. They shall enter public service with utmost devotion and dedication to duty. They shall endeavor to discourage wrong perceptions of their roles as dispensers or peddlers of undue patronage. Ayan, ano pa kasi yung naiisip ng iba, karamihan. Alam niyo po bang nag-publish kami ng mga position sa aming opisina at ang dami-dami talagang nag-a-apply. Di ba? So for one position, hundreds ang applicants. Pero dito, siyempre sinasahala namin, we have this, sinasala yung mga sa aming recruitment, selection, and placement. But ano ba yung, pag nag-i-interview, when I was still the chair of the selection board noon, pag nag-i-interview kami, ano ba yung, bakit ka papasok ng gobyerno? And you know what the answers that were given? Karamihan po, 95% of the people that I have asked, bakit sila papasok ng gobyerno? Papasok sila ng gobyerno dahil may security of tenure. Okay? And second, mataas na po kasi yung sweldo sa gobyerno. Diba? Practical answers. And these are honest answers that I also appreciate. Pero, yes, there is security of tenure in the government. But of course, meron din naman sa private. Kaya lang, iba kasi yung degree ng security of tenure. Why? Akala nyo ang tatag ng ABS-CBN, ang tagal nyo na doon, 20 years. Biglang, oops, nawalan kayo ng trabaho. Tapos nagka-pandemic, maraming nawalan ng trabaho. So here comes people na really looking for that security of tenure na umulan man at umaraw, assured sila na may trabaho sila. And of course, everybody of us, yun naman ang natin is, dapat may pambili tayo ng pagkain sa ating pamilya. Pagbayad ng ating mga pagkakagastusan sa ating pamilya. But aside from that, ang ini-encourage namin sa gobyerno is yung papasok ka ng gobyerno that you have something to contribute. You have something to give to the government. And that forms part of what? Yung excellent service. That's why ngayong September or October, siguro i-announce ko na sa inyo, we're going to have the first ever Students' Congress where we will invite, kaya kung may mga kilala kayong graduating sa college or even sa senior high school, gusto namin silang i-prepare if they want to get into the government track, gusto nilang pumasok sa civil service, they should be prepared that ito yung aabutan nyo sa civil service and then examine what you can give to civil service dahil dapat meron ka ring role sa nation building, and being a great or a good civil servant is your contribution to nation building. That's why we keep on hammering on professionalism. Diba? So, dapat ang pagpasok mo sa gobyerno, hindi lang dahil gusto mong magsweldo, but you have something to contribute to the good of the nation. So, professionalism. Then, justness and sincerity. Public officials and employees shall remain true to the people at all times. Ito kasi yung nakakalimutan natin, di ba? Pag matagal ka na, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you've been exposed to so many practices, especially in the local government unit, nakailang mayor ka na, nakailang vice mayor ka na, marami ka ng pinagdaanan. But ang sinasabi sa atin dito is to remain true to the people at all times. So dapat daw we should act with justness and sincerity and shall not discriminate against anyone, especially the poor and the underprivileged. And yung ine-espouse ko rin po ngayong advokasya, yung inclusion. Maybe you've heard the word JEDC. I was fortunate to be given a scholarship at the University of Queensland in Australia. And there, nagkaroon ng kaliwanagan. JEDC stands for Gender, Equity, Disability, and Social Inclusion. So, kasi tayo, punong-puno tayo ng sa gender, di ba? We've been having this God plan, Gender and Development Plan. Year in and year out, pinapasubmit tayo niya na Philippine Commission on Women. Yes, we have laws on women. We even have a Magna Carta on women. But yung kaisipan natin is, how do we embrace people different from us? How do we embrace people with disability? Tanungin ko kayo, ilan ba yung kaopisina nyo na may disability? Nag-a-accept ba kayo niyan sa opisina nyo? Do you give them opportunities to be in your agency? So, tatanungin natin yan. Kasi dapat hindi daw tayo nag-discriminate sa mga tao, but whether poor, whether underprivileged, or whether member ng LGBTQIA+ community, because ayan, marami pa akong naririnig na ano, kasi siguro kultura din ang discrimination talaga andyan. So justice and sincerity dapat daw at all times. I know it's a difficult thing to do at all times because human as we are, we're prone to errors, we're prone to our own biases and judgments. But I hope you will all be aware of all your biases para po you can do something about it. So justness and sincerity is a norm of conduct. Then we have political neutrality. So public officials and employees shall provide service to everyone without unfair discrimination, regardless of party affiliation or preference. I was talking about this earlier, malapit ng election. That's why kung kayo po ay nasa local government unit or you know someone who is in the local government unit, I know it's a tough time when it's election year because parang tinitest ang inyong loyalty. If your mayor or governor is running for re-election and there's a very strong contender, diba, parang iti-test ang loyalty mo tapos mamarkahan ka. But please remain neutral. We are not allowed to campaign for any candidate in the civil service. Dahil dito sa norm na to, political neutrality. And you may find yourself in a difficult situation if you campaign for a candidate. Pag sinabi ko pong pagkampanya, hindi lang po yung mananalo na, for example, iboto nyo si Henry, okay? Kasama din po dyan yung huwag nyong iboto si Henry. Pangangampanya rin po yan. So, bawal pa rin po yan. So, please remain neutral, especially malapit na po ang election. I can feel the election fever now. Ang dami-dami na po makikita nyo, maraming mga pangalang nagsisilabasan. But I hope you'll stay true to this norm, political neutrality. Kaya lang gusto ko lang isabi yung exception kasi bakit si di ba si administrator ni mayor, bakit siya nangangampanya? Oh, sabi niyo bawal mangampanya, di ba empleyado rin yun ng gobyerno? Bakit yung legal officer, city legal officer or yung city information officer ni mayor or ni governor, bakit nangangampanya? Nandun sa entablado, nagsasabing vote. Oh, kasali ba sila dito? Meron po kasing exception ng batas. Ang sinasabi po, as a rule, bawal po tayong mangampanya ng mga nasa civil service. Ang exception po dyan ay yung mga nasa primarily confidential position. Yung mga nabanggit ko po, ang mga position po nila ay considered as primarily confidential na based on trust and confidence po kasi ng appointing authority. So pag hindi nila kinampanya yung mayor nila, wala na rin silang trabaho pag natalo si mayor. So tandaan lang po natin, tatanungin natin, bakit siya nangangampanya? Baka naman kasi nasa primarily confidential position siya. Example po niyan, private secretary ni mayor, executive assistant, yung driver niya, yung kanyang security agent, yung administrator niya, yung legal officer, information officer. So, wag muna tayong mabigla at bakit siya nangangampanya. Baka ipatulfol nyo kaagad. Magtanong po muna kayo kung ano yung position nila sa kanilang ahensya. Then we go to responsiveness to the public. Ito yung hinahanap ng karamihan dahil marami pong nakakalimot nito. Kasi lahat daw po ng officials and employees shall extend prompt, courteous, and adequate service to the public. Ito na lang po yung iha-highlight ko. Prompt, courteous, and adequate service. Pag nagpapabakuna, di ba, ang daming pila kahit ngayong pandemic. Ang iba hindi pa nag-almusal. Andun nakapila. O kaya kukuha ka noon ng lisensya, ng passport, pipila ka doon sa labas para lang makapasok ka sa ahensya. Asan yung prompt, courteous, and adequate service, di ba? Pero alam niyo po, ang kagandahan, if you're aware of the Anti-Red Tape Act, which has been amended by the Ease of Doing Business Act, may magandang nagawa po itong batas na ito. Because, example na lang po, I'd like to give this as an example, but I'm not saying na perfect na silang organization. Go back to the time na wala pang ARTA. Sino po dito ang nagre-renew ng nagda-drive dahil siyempre nagda-drive kayo, may driver's license kayo, or kung may sasakyan kayo, mag-renew kayo ng registration ng sasakyan nyo. Di ba noong panahon, dito na lang sa Legazpi, asan yung opisina ng LTO? Di ba nandito sa may Washington? It was a very small office at ako po na-experience ko rin pong doon, ang daming tao. Siyempre sa dami ng tao, wala nang upuan. Kung ikaw po ang nandoon sa opisinang yon, syempre napapagod ka rin, di ba? Syempre gusto mo ring mag-CR, gusto mo ring mag-snack dahil gutom ka na, di ba? So, nagkaroon ng, at ang dami po talagang reklamo noon. Aminin po natin yan, ang daming reklamo sa LTO noon. Okay? So, nagkaroon ng Anti-Red Tape Act. At ang CSC naman po, ginawa naman namin yung aming mandato under that law. So, ang kagandahan po, di ba, nagkaroon naman ng reforms LTO. At kung pupunta naman po kayo ngayon sa kanilang opisina, mas maayos na po siya kesa sa dati. Di ba? So these are small wins, or not even, hindi naman yung small wins, but these are wins that we also have to acknowledge. I'm not saying na the best na ang LTO, perfect na ang LTO, because we still hear complaints on fixers, kasi wala naman po talagang perfectong organization. Even in the first world countries, wala namang sa corruption, di ba? Nasabi kanina, sino yung nagsabi na wala naman atang organization or tao na kumbaga free sa corruption. But may ginawa sila. And we also have to acknowledge that. And I think papunta na sila doon sa responsiveness to the public. And with the pandemic, ako naman natutuwa dahil karamihan naman nasasanay na sa may appointment, which is dapat po talaga. If you want to be given prompt, courteous, and adequate service, dapat talaga siguro may time na para sa'yo lang. Pero dapat ikaw responsible enough to honor that appointment. Kasi yan, inalak para sa'yo, okay? At maraming nag-aaway para sa slot na yan, tapos hindi ka dadating. Mabuti kung meron ka pong valid excuse. Yan, may mga exception naman. But responsiveness to the public. Ito yung nire-remind sa atin dito sa Code of Conduct na to na kailangan prompt, courteous, and adequate service ang ibibigay natin sa ating stakeholders. Now, let's go to nationalism and patriotism. Sabi dito, public officials and employees shall at all times be loyal to the Republic and to the Filipino people. Promote the use of locally produced goods, resources, and technology, and encourage appreciation and pride of country and people. May magandang libro, if you know Attorney Alexander Lacson, may maganda siyang libro about patriotism. Yung mga little things that we can do for our country. Ang unang-una dyan is following traffic rules. Di ba? That's a very simple way of being nationalistic and para maipakita natin yung patriotism. Do we follow simple traffic rules? Unfortunately po hindi. Di ba? Because ang pagiging nationalistic, hindi naman natin kailangang mamatay para sa bansa natin, di ba? So we just have to do all these little things para lang maipakita natin, may pagmamahal tayo sa bayan natin. Simple following of traffic rules. Simple segregation of waste, di ba? Kasi pag hindi ka nag-segregate ng waste mo, ayan, ngayon tag-ulan, pagbabaha, babalik din naman yan sa'yo. So anong klaseng lugar magkakaroon tayo? This multiplies, isa lang, dalawa, buong community, hindi nagsisegregate, tapon ka lang ng tapon kung saan-saan. Buong community, ang hindi nagpa-follow ng traffic rules. Ano kayang mangyayari sa atin? So there are so many simple things that we can do to show our nationalism and patriotism. Commitment to democracy. Public officials and employees shall commit themselves to the democratic way of life and values. Andito yung, kasama kasi dito yung freedom, meron tayong freedom of expression. Guaranteed po yan ng Constitution natin. But not all freedoms are absolute. Merong mga, nag-e-end din yung mga freedom natin. That's why I think the other day, I nag-post ako sa Facebook ng isang public post about doon sa mga gustong pumasok sa gobyerno at kung ano-anong sinasabi sa social media. Please take note that social media, the use of social media comes with responsibility. So whatever you put there, it remains there even if you delete it, if you take it down, andyan po yan. At ang social media is a very good resource for background investigation during the recruitment, selection, and placement. So kung ano-anong nailagay nyo, ang iba nagmumura, ang iba kung ano-ano, nagbabash. Okay, so dapat we have to be responsible enough. Diba? Responsible of what we say, especially if we're in the government. I know most of you or all of you have accounts in social media. We are in the government, we should adhere to the code of conduct that we are talking about now. Kasi kahit po sabihin nyo, this is my private account. Yes, it's your private account. You're a government employee. You're a government official. And you are bound by the norms of conduct of professionalism. So everything that you should put there should be professional enough. Because every one of us is an ambassador of our agency. It reflects on what we are as a civil servant and what we are as a person. Kami po sa Civil Service Commission, we have a social media policy. We understand and we respect the right of people, of our employees and officials to voice whatever they want to voice in their Facebook or social media accounts, but kailangan po, it is within the bounds of RA 6713. And if we want to give comments on issues of national concern or local concern, kailangan maglalagay kami ng disclaimer sa aming post na ito po ay akin lamang na opinion and in no way reflect the opinion of my agency. So that's our social media policy. I hope you also have your own social media policy. And of course, you have to police your employees or dapat tayo, individual dapat ang pagpupulis. Tanungin natin, is this in accordance with the norms of conduct expected of me to follow as a government employee? Then we have simple living. Public officials and employees and their families shall lead modest lives appropriate to their positions and income. So sinabi natin simple living, dapat daw walang ostentatious display of wealth. So kung ako po, salary grade 6, dapat yung, kumbaga, ang bag ko, hindi ako yung, saan ka kasi kung salary grade 6, then you have a Gucci, a Prada bag. Diba? Although, tatanungin mo, ano to, class A imitation or what? Diba? But, yun, or you have a Pajero, you have a brand new car. So, dapat daw, kung ano yung position natin and income, appropriate din yung ating way of living sa ating income. Okay, so ask yourselves that whether you have this. Bawal daw yung ostentatious display of wealth in any form. So these are the 8 norms of conduct na nakapalagay sa RA 6713. So before we go to our next topic, ang gusto kong itanong sa inyo, ask this sa sarili natin, am I an ethical person? Okay, you don't have to write your answers in the chat. You don't have to say it loud. But ask yourselves, am I an ethical person? Okay, do I know what is right from what is wrong? So reflect on the actions in the past days. What have I done? What did I post in the social media? Did it reflect me as a person and as a civil servant? And for those of you who are not in the civil service, ask yourselves, professional ba ito or tama ba ito? Okay, ethical ba ito? Okay, so yan po yung ating discussion on ethics. Now let's jump to integrity. Again, let me, baka tulog na kasi kayo, hindi ko makita yung iba kasi walang camera. So just to check, okay, let's be interactive. What comes to mind when you hear the word integrity? So I'll be waiting for your answers dito sa chat box. No right or wrong answer. Kung ano lang nasa isip natin. What comes to mind when you hear the word integrity? Okay, I'm seeing some answers in the chat box. Thank you. Maraming nagsabi, honesty or being honest. And then somebody said accountability, still values. So parang kanina, when we talk of ethics, ang naisip niyo na values, tapos dito sa integrity, you still think of values. That's good. Then moral uprightness, accountability, honor, uprightness, honesty and morality. Doing right even when no one is watching. Wow, this is good. Incorruptibility, honest, being honest and upright. Character, doing right all the time. Masyado tong challenging, doing right all the time. Stand for what is right. Okay. What else? Doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Practice of being honest, right, wholeness, moral soundness, having strong moral principles, doing what is right, even when no one is watching, kagaya nung kanina, principles, decency, truthfulness, being honest. So, may similarity yung ating mga ideas when it comes to integrity. Karamihan, honest, what comes to mind, honesty or honest, yung values. Okay, let's take a look at this. Integrity. Pag sinabi nating integrity, tama yung mga naisagot nyo sa chat box. Because integrity has something to do with the adherence to moral and ethical principles. So kabit-kabit kasi yung ethics and integrity. Kahit pagpunta natin sa accountability, you'll notice na kabit-kabit siya. So adherence to moral and ethical principles. And sabi natin, ethical principles has something to do with what's right and what's wrong. Yung mga standards na kailangan nating i-follow. And then, ito yung importante, integrity has something to do with consistency of actions, values, principles, outcomes. Diba? So, consistency. Mahirap kasi maging consistent. Pwede ngayon, okay, I showed integrity now, I showed honesty, pero consistent ba yan? Yan ang tanong. And of course, integrity has something to do with honesty, truthfulness, and accuracy of one's action. So tama yung mga sinabi niyo po kanina. Honesty, truthfulness, and accuracy of one's actions. And tama rin yung mga, I think there were 3 of them who wrote this. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. Karamihan po kasi ngayon pag may gagawin, kailangan naka-live sa Facebook o kaya sa Instagram o kaya na i-TikTok, diba? O kaya, for example, nagbigay ka ng something, kailangan may picture para ipalabas sa social media. Well, I can understand that because, diba, kung wala ka daw proof, hindi yun nangyari. Diba? Kumbaga, show me and tell me. It's not enough that you show me that you did this, but you must have some proof that you really did this. So, integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. And the best person to tell whether you have this is who? Is it your boss? Is it the mayor or the president? Sino? It's actually you. Kasi nga, even when no one is watching, when you're doing it, diba? Then you can say sa sarili mo, I have integrity. Okay? So doing the right thing when no one is watching. Actually, this is the test, the best test of integrity. Doing the right thing when no one is watching. And gusto ko lang sabihin because kanina narinig ko during the opening, sa ano kasi, diba? Ang procurement palagi ng maraming usapin, maraming allegations of, hindi nga lang allegations because we have a lot of cases concerning corruption when it comes to procurement. But ito lang ang maisasabi ko sa inyo. Ako po, maraming taon when I was the Assistant Regional Director, maraming taon akong chair ng Bids and Awards Committee ng Civil Service Commission Regional Office 5. and not one instance na may lumapit sa akin or merong nag-offer, whatever. Dahil siguro alam dito sa office namin, they can attest to that, na kumbaga nasa sayo siguro yan kung malalapit kasi wala kumbaga no contact eh. Kung may mga suppliers and ano, dun ka sa MSD namin, dun sa Management Service Division. Especially kung may mga for bidding, we don't talk to bidders or suppliers unless nasa pre-bid conference kami where they have to clarify, and that's it. But in the middle of our procurement, wala po. So yan ang siguro proud ako masasabi because I've been, sabi ko nga, ang dami, siguro kung ganyan ang nababasa kasi marami din kaming kaso on procurement related cases. Pero sabi ko, bakit para malagi pala talaga mayayaman kumbaga sa sa gobyerno. Pero sabi ko nga hindi lahat. So hindi lahat ang wag nating lalahatin because I can say and I can pwede akong mag-testify na ang tagal kong back chair. Ito yung aking kita mo naman. This is how I live. So yun. Meron pa pong kayo. So do not lose hope, lalo na yung mga wala sa gobyerno and sasabihin nyo, ito ba yung aking pupuntahan? Hindi po lahat ng marami pa rin namang matitino sa gobyerno. And that's why we're espousing mamaya ko yung public service values natin. And this gives naalala ko merong isang nag-transfer sa CSC pero hindi dito sa Region 5. Sa ibang region may nag-transfer. Mataas na ang posisyon niya doon sa ginalingan niyang ahensya. Tinanong siya, bakit ka umalis doon? Mababa dito yung position. Alam niyo yung sagot niya? Dahil hindi po align yung aking values doon sa ahensyang yon. Kasi everyday, papasok ka ng hindi ka masaya. Dahil pagbukas mo ng drawer mo, ito totoo pagbukas ng drawer niya, may pera kang makikita. And everyone has it in their drawers. At wala ka naman daw magagawa, kailangan i-accept mo. Diba? So kung hindi yon kaya ng consent, and that person really looked for another job sa sabi niya, hindi kasi align yung aking values dun sa values ng organization na yun. So that's what I admire, especially sa ating mga millennials. Marami naman siguro tayo dito mga millennials because iba ngayon ang mga pumapasok sa trabaho. Noon talagang pag dyan nagsimula, dyan magre-retire. Ngayon, young people are looking for what? Organizations na makakapagbigay sa kanila ng growth and development kahit mababa yung sweldo. Organizations na aligned ang value sa kanila. So may hope pa rin naman po tayo sa Pilipinas. As long as you join us, you join me in our advocacy for a better government and a better public service. That's why dito tayo talking about integrity. And tayo as a person, ma-assess natin yung level ng integrity natin. Pero nakikita rin kasi natin ito, especially sa mga leaders natin. And leadership is nadidevelop. You can develop yourselves to become leaders. You can be given opportunities to become leaders. And it's everyone's business. Leadership is a relationship. It is learned. So wag niyong sabihin na, ay wala akong kapasidad na ganito because leadership is learned. And leadership is an ongoing process. So every one of us can be that leader who can advocate for integrity in our agency in whatever way we can. So let's take a look at this from the point of view of leadership. Let's take a look at integrity from the point of view of leadership. Now there's this book called The Leadership Challenge by Jim Kouzes and Barry Posner. They conducted surveys, studies, and they came up with this book. And this book was, marami na siyang editions actually. And I was very lucky dahil nung several years, almost 10 years ago, nagkaroon kami ng assessment dito. Singapore pa ang noon yung parang nag-assess, do we have all these things as CSC leaders? Okay. So ito yung sana ko, if you have time, you can read this book. Maganda po siya. It has undergone several editions because of the studies na continuing naman nilang ginagawa. But here in this book, Kouzes and Posner came up, based on their research, the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. Okay, and what are these practices? Based on the book, based on their research, these practices are model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. Now, for the purpose of our topic on integrity, we will focus on modeling the way. Okay? If you want to get meron kasi kasama ito sa, I talk about this in one of our supervisory development program modules. Maybe you would like to enroll on that particular para lang makuha niyo yung buo. But I'd like to share with you about modeling the way. Sabi ni Kouzes and Posner, modeling the way has something to do with finding your voice by clarifying your personal values and setting the example by aligning actions with shared values. So find your voice by clarifying your personal values. You have to ask yourself, dapat reflective tayo. Unfortunately, not every one of us reflect on what we are doing, reflect on ano ba yung mga thoughts ko, yung actions ko. Ang tanong ko na lang, simpleng tanong, at the end of the day, before you go to sleep, do you ask yourself, what have I done today? Nagre-reflect ba kayo? Bakit kaya ako nagalit kanina? Ano ba yung, do you do that? Okay? Kasi kung hindi, it's not too late for you to do that. Kasi if you reflect, you become more aware of who you are. And there you can clarify your personal values. And when you have clarified your values, you can set the example and you can align these values with the shared values. Have you heard the word, sorry, this is in Bicol. For those who are not from Bicol, suhay sa hawak. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin, hiwalay sa katawan in Filipino. Ibig sabihin, iba yung sinasabi mo sa ginagawa mo. Okay? Ibig sabihin, hindi align yung ginagawa mo sa sinasabi mo. Okay? So, hindi yan dito kasali sa modeling the way because most people ganon. Okay? Now, ang sabi kasi ni Kouzes and Posner, the foundation of leadership is credibility and integrity. That's why we have to have that alignment of values. Okay? Credibility and integrity. Now, titles are given, but it is your behavior that gets you respect. Diba? Kasi kahit ikaw yung mayor, ikaw yung elected official, or you may be the regional director, a division chief, a provincial director, these are titles given you. Okay? Pero it is your behavior that gets your respect. Okay, I think it was Maxwell on leadership na parang yung level 1 niya is people respect you because of your title. Kung ganun lang palagi ang level of leadership mo, ibig sabihin hindi ka nag-grow as a leader. Okay? So work on your credibility and integrity. And you can work on that by what? Starting with a clarification of your values and being reflective of what you are doing. Because credibility is about earning the trust, respect, and admiration of other people. Diba? Kahit minsan kasi ang ganda-ganda ng sinasabi mo, but when you're not credible, will people believe you? Will people trust you? So credibility is about earning the trust, respect, and admiration of other people. So you have to work on that. And your capacity to win personal credibility, to align words and deeds, depends on how well you know yourself. That's why I am encouraging you to have that self-reflection every time, every day, or make it a habit. Okay? You have to align your words and deeds. Hindi na pwede yung suhay sa hawak or hindi nagmamatch yung ginagawa mo sa sinasabi mo. Okay? Because when you know yourself, aligned palagi yung words mo and yung deeds mo. So pag sinabi mong I'm honest, dapat nakikita yon sa deeds mo. You're honest in dealing with other people. So when faced with a situation like assigned, for example, ako sa procurement, di ba, nagbibigay tayo ng RFQ, request for quotation, dahil small value procurement or shopping, di ba? Ikaw yung nagbibigay niyan sa mga suppliers, tapos sasabihan ka, bigay mo na lang sa akin, ako nang bahala nito mag-fill out, bibigyan na lang kita. Di ba? How many of you have experienced that? And what have you done? Okay? I'm not going to pass judgment in what you have done, but ask yourselves, what have you done? Okay? Yung mga naka-experience na ganon. Kasi it's tempting, especially kung, for example, tuition time, walang pang tuition. Siguro sa UST naka-enroll yung anak mo, walang pang tuition, magtutuition na. And here comes one supplier telling you, bigay mo na lang sa akin yung yung lahat ng mga request for quotation, ako nang bahala sa iyo. Diba? So what will you do? So ask yourself, if you have experienced that, what have you done? Okay? Now, sabi ko ulit, I'll repeat it, alignment of words and deeds. And you can only this depends on how well you know yourself. And the first step on the credibility journey is the clarification of values. Okay? Ito yung nakakalimutan kasi natin. I'm glad kanina may nagsabi values, GMRC. Kasi ngayon kahit ako sa mga anak ko, 'di ba, they're in grade school, in high school, iba ngayon especially ang mga books, ang mga examples, parang iba, and then hindi rin nila nakikita. Diba? Kasi iba yung dinidiscuss yung values, tapos dapat nakikita. Nakikita sa family, nakikita sa community. Kaya lang ngayon, we're limited with face-to-face learning. That's why sabi ko, what will happen to this generation now? Those who missed play because they can't go out. Those who missed interaction with other children. Diba? Parang na-deprive sila nitong experience na dapat na-experience nila magpatintero, na-experience nila anong tawag dyan? Yung jackstone or yung, ano bang ginagawa natin noon? But ngayon lahat gadget, diba? Ang laro, nasa cellphone, nasa tablet. So what will happen to sa future natin? Ito yung mga kabataan kasi yung magmamana nitong gobyerno natin. And they miss these things during pandemic. But sabi ko nga, yung values, we all go back to the family. Okay? Clarification ng values natin. So how clear are your values in terms of ethics, respect, honesty, and integrity? Kayo lang po ang makakasagot niyan. So I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you, how clear are my values, my personal values? What are my takes on the ethics, on respect, on honesty, integrity? Do I have this? And in the public sector, we have what we call the public service values. Bakit may PAI dito? Parang nagutom tuloy ako, may ano. Because you can memorize the public service values with PAIs. PAIs stand for patriotism, integrity, excellence, and spirituality. So these are the values expected of all of us in the government service. That's why pwede nyong tanungin, pwede nyong hanapin to sa inyong mga i-elect na mga mga officials. Patriotism, integrity, excellence, spirituality. Okay? So PAIs, ito yung mga ini-encourage namin sa Civil Service Commission na i-revisit ng bawat isa sa bureaucracy. That's why intense yung campaign namin in whatever we can in the Civil Service Commission. Every Monday during our flag ceremony, yes, we still have flag ceremony kahit virtual, okay? Kahit po dahil pandemic, kasi iniiwasan ko rin po na magkaroon ng dito sa amin. Because that happened to us, ayoko na pong mag-lockdown. Mas mahirap po yun. Walang serbisyo pag lockdown. Very limited. Every Monday, we talk about the PAIs. We talk about patriotism, integrity, excellence, spirituality. We show videos. We share experiences. Para lang po, nandyan palagi, we are reminded that we have to be patriotic, we have to have integrity, we have to aim for excellence always. And of course, we have to harness that spirituality in us. Spirituality na hindi lang naman para sa mga Christians, but this embraces all religions and beliefs. So these are the public service values that I'm sharing with all of you na pag-isipan po ninyo and ask yourselves, how am I doing with this PIES? Or what am I doing paano ko ba na iba-manifest itong PIES na ito? So ang tanong ko po sa inyo, before we leave integrity, how clear are my values? Please ask yourselves that. Again, I do not expect you to share that with us in the chat. Just ask yourself, how clear are my values? Okay. Now we go to the home stretch na tayo ng aking topic. Anong oras na ba? What comes to mind? Again, para lang malaman ko po kung hindi pa kayo natutulog. Kindly put in the chat your thoughts. What comes to mind when you hear the word accountability? Or yung naka-live stream ata ito sa Facebook, you can share with us. Pwede nyo i-type in sa comment section. And then siguro I'll also go back to that. Sige po, let me see your thoughts on this. Okay, accountability has something to do with responsibility, responsible, being accountable of what you're doing and your action, being responsible to actions, being responsibility. Yeah, transparency, liability, obligation. Yes, thank you. Willingness to accept obligation. Yes. Being able to defend your actions and face consequences. Then trust, commitment. Okay, thank you for your answers. Accountability. Again, lahat po tayo tama yung mga sinabi natin. Because when we speak of accountability, this is when an individual or department experiences consequences for their performance or actions. Now, without it, it is difficult to get people to assume ownership of their own actions because they believe they will not face any consequences. So when you said about responsibility, consequences, liability, yes, kasali siya lahat sa accountability. Kasi ano kaya yung how do you take this? May isang leader tapos biglang nagkaroon ng issue, may pagkakamali. Tapos the leader will say, yung division chief ko kasi, hindi niya ginawa yung dapat niyang gawin. Hindi niya ako binigyan ng tamang data. Kasi yung aking secretary, mali yung ginawa. Is there accountability? Is there ownership? And how will you look at that leader kung ganyan? Diba? So accountability has something to do with owning your actions. And sadly, kumbaga, parang bihira ngayon yung nag-o-own ng action, palaging may scapegoat. Diba? Nagkamali, merong issue about something, palaging hindi ako, palaging siya. Diba? Pero sino yung pumirma? Diba? Hindi pwedeng pinirmahan mo pero yung accountability nasa staff mo. So leaders must own their actions. That's why ang iba nagsasabi, ang taas-taas nga ng sweldo niya, pipirma lang naman siya. Diba? Think of it this way. Bakit po mas mataas ang sweldo ng mga leaders natin kesa doon sa talagang gumagawa? Ako ang gumawa ng report na to, nag-research ako. Siya pipirma lang naman siya. Bakit kaya? Because at the end of the day, it will be the leader who signed his or who affixed his or her signature on the document who is accountable to the public on that. That's accountability. Hindi po kayo. Kung ikaw yung nag-prepare, nag-research, you put it together, sa tingin mo, ang ganda-ganda ng ginawa mo, okay? Pinirmahan ng boss mo, at the end of the day, it's not you who will get the flack. It's not you who will have the liability. it's your leader. That's why intindihin natin, ang accountability mahal. Di ba? Kasi pag kumuha ka ng abogado, mahal yun. Sino ba yung, I think may lawyer ba tayo dito sa webinar na to. So, wag tayong magtatanong na bakit ang tataas naman ng sweldo nila kaysa sa amin? Sila pipirma lang naman. It has something to do with accountability. Okay. Now, narinig na natin to. When we speak of accountability, it all boils down to this. Public office is a public trust. As public administration, students, as civil servants, alam natin to. Public office is a public trust. When we accepted our position, whether elective or whether appointive, okay, we are reposed with trust from the people. That's why sabi nila, we are being given the salary taken from the taxpayers' money. That's why we owe it to them. Okay? Kaya lang po iba na rin ngayon ang iba na rin ngayon ang public natin. Minsan very unreasonable na din naman. Example namin. Siguro nakita nyo, nag-announce kami ng examination, magpapa-exam sa fire officer, sa penology officer, sa basic competency ng local treasury officers. Baka may mga kilala kayo. Now, we got the permission from the local IATF dahil it's required of us. Dahil, kumbaga, maraming tao, di ba? And the venue is Legazpi City. And the Legazpi City IATF only gave us the go signal to have it in Legazpi kung mga taga-Albay yung mga mag-e-exam. And you know what happened? Ang daming basher ng office namin. Daming, bakit yung mga taga-Kamsur, hindi pwede? Ano? Yes, we understand the frustration. Kahit ako, kung pwede lang, magpa-exam sa lahat ng provinces. Because, ano yung wisdom ng local IATF? Ayaw nila ng interzonal movement. Diba? If you're coming from Camarines Sur to Albay, pandemic po ngayon. Sabi ko nga, we are not living in ordinary times. These are ordinary times. We have the threat of the Delta variant. And hindi lang po naman yan up sa amin. We also have to think of sino ba yung pwedeng magbantay sa exam. Kasi pag nagpapa-exam po ang civil service, ang daming kakabit niyan. It's not just pupunta ka dyan at mag-e-exam ka. We have to think of the people na magpa-process ng applications, magbabantay, dapat sanitized yung venue. May venue ba? Okay? So kung hindi po kami pinayagan ng IATF, it's not up to us. Hindi kami pwedeng bumalga kasi ako yung kakasuhan. Yung opisina namin yung kakasuhan. Diba? So, accountability. Public office is a public trust. Kung ano yung, lalo na yung mga elective officials because they have been elected, they have the mandate of the people. And I'd like to remind everyone na nag-oath po tayo nung pumasok tayo sa gobyerno. I took the same oath last week. I think that was last week. Ito siya. Let's revisit what we have said during our oath. And then, nag-ano pa tayo, so help me God. Nag-invoke tayo ng Diyos. Kung kanino man tayo naniniwala. So sabi natin dyan ay, I will faithfully discharge to the best of my ability the duties of my present position and of all others that I may hereafter hold under the Republic of the Philippines. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will obey the laws, legal orders, and decrees promulgated by the duly constituted authorities of the Republic of the Philippines, and that I impose this obligation upon myself voluntarily without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So I think ito pong napag-usapan natin ngayon, ethics, integrity, accountability, andito siya lahat sa oath of office natin. Baka po nakalimutan na po natin dahil ang iba ang tagal nang hindi naman napopromote, ang tagal ko nang pumasok sa gobyerno. Let's revisit this oath because this oath will tell us what we have promised. When we invoke God, nasabi natin, gagawin natin faithfully yung ating trabaho. Andyan yung ethics, integrity, and accountability. And remember, we impose this upon ourselves voluntarily. Dahil tayo yung naggusto na maging, for example, maging regional director, kagustuhan natin yun. That's why ini-impose mo yun sa sarili mo voluntarily without mental reservation or purpose of evasion. So siguro every time we experience circumstances when our integrity is being tested, go back to this oath of office. This will guide us na nag-promise pala ako, invoking God, that I will do all these things. So go back to this oath of office. Because pag nasa civil service ka po, we have a threefold liability rule na sinasabi. Sa accountability, pag may nagawa ka po, pwede kang makasuhan ng civil, criminal, and administrative. Isa lang na ginawa, pero tatlo. That's why we call it threefold liability rule. Civil, pwede kang pagbayadin ng damages. Criminal, pwede kang makulong. Administrative, pwede kang masuspend. Pwede kang ma-dismiss sa serbisyo. All at the same time? Yes. That's the threefold liability rule. Now, sa accountability, meron naman tayong administrative discipline. We have due process. Ito naman yung maipapangako ko, lalo na ako nakaupo dito sa Civil Service Commission. I adhere to this, taking into account the 2017 rules on administrative cases in the civil service. Yung due process, ibig sabihin, papakinggan ang bawat panig bago magkaroon ng desisyon. So we take a look at the documents that we have. We hear, okay, in accordance with the process that we have sa mga cases na andito sa aming opisina. And of course, sa administrative discipline, we have procedural and substantive. So we have to follow the rules. And substantive, dapat kung anong ikinaso sa'yo, andun dapat nakalagay sa batas. Kasi kung hindi naman yan pinagbabawal ng batas, hindi ka pwedeng kasuhan. So kung walang batas na nagbabawal na ganito, hindi ka niyang pwedeng kasuhan kung ginawa mo. So substantive, sa administrative discipline, we have administrative penalties for every offense like dishonesty, grave misconduct, mga ganyan. So dapat nakasulat yan para lang masabi na ay may nalabag kang batas. So procedural and substantive. And of course, ito naman, it all boils down, itong pinag-usapan natin, ethics, integrity, accountability. Mahaba po kasing usapin ng administrative discipline. I'm ready to answer questions later if you still have time. So ethics, integrity, and accountability, it all boils down sa atin. So that's why reflective din yung ano natin ngayon. Ask yourselves, do I have all this? Okay, ethics, integrity, and accountability. Now, let me end my my talk with this story about the two wolves. An old Cherokee is teaching his grandson about life. A fight is going on inside me, he said to the boy. It is a terrible fight, and it is between two wolves. One is evil, his anger, envy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. He continued, the other is good. He is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The same fight is going on inside you and inside every other person too. The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, which wolf will win? The old Cherokee simply replied, the one you feed. So if you feel dishonesty, if you feed anger, yan yung mananalo sa inyo. So with that, I end this talk. Thank you very much for inviting me. And I hope I was able to share whatever experiences that I have, whatever I know with all the students of Public Ad with Bicol University. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you. Thank you po, Attorney Daisy Ponsalan, Bragais, Director 4, Civil Service Commission, Regional Office Number 5, for that comprehensive information you have shared to us this morning. Thank you so much po, ma'am. Thank you so much. All right, Ma'am Christy.
Okay, before we proceed, we would like to announce that evaluation form is now available in chat box. Kindly check and fill out the form.
Okay, so while also we are reminding everyone that it is important to fill out this form for our certificate. So while doing this, let's take this moment to award the certificate of appreciation to our first resource speaker in this webinar series. May I request the committee to please flash on screen the certificate of appreciation to our speaker, Ma'am Christy. Please go ahead.
Okay, citation reads, Republic of the Philippines, Bicol University Graduate School, Jesse M. Robredo, Institute of Governance and Development. Certificate of Appreciation is hereby awarded to Attorney Daisy P. Bragais in grateful recognition on her enduring commitment and exceptional service as guest speaker on the topic Ethics, Integrity, and Accountability in Public Service during the WebPad 2021, Securing the Country's Future Through Quality and Ethical Public Service in the Local Government, held on July 23.
Pilar Sorsogon, nagdaramog man sa Pilar.
All right, thank you so much, Ma'am Christy. Thank you po, Attorney Bragais. Thank you so much po sa Civil Service Commission. Mabuhay po kamo. All right, so thank you, ma'am. Later on po, we'll be having our open forum and Ma'am Attorney Bragais, I think, sabi niya, he ready to answer your queries. Okay, so gusto ko lang pong idagdag na yung mga hindi po nakapag-pre-register sa atin, na nag-attend po sa ngayon, pwede po kayong mag-fill out ng evaluation form. So kahit hindi po kayo nakapag-register, basta po nag-attend kayo sa ngayon, you can fill out our evaluation form para po makakuha kayo ng Certificate of Participation. Okay? So,
Okay, so that is true. Okay, so as someone puts it, a matter is better talk about among every heart. Now let's prepare our teachable and willing heart as we have our plenary.
Okay, so at this juncture, let us call on Mr. Andre Belen, our moderator, to facilitate the open forum and plenary. Sir Andre.
Thank you, Sir Henry, and good morning to everyone. I would like to commend our resource speaker, Attorney Bragais, for the wonderful talk we have this morning. And thank you for inspiring us public officials and public employees with regards to ethics, integrity, and accountability. So let's check our comment section if we have any questions with regards to the doc this morning. So ma'am, we have a question from Sir Jesse Aicocho. Napaka-inspiring po ng talk to all public employees. Ask ko lang po kung may data ang CSC with those charged civilly po. So ma'am.
Okay, about the data for those civilly charged, wala po kaming data niyan because the data that we have, yung mga administratively charged po, dito sa Region 5, we have that.
Thank you, ma'am. So again, we have another question from the comment section. This is in regards, ma'am, with living a simple life. Yung kanina po na-discuss sa integrity part of our talk, of your talk po pala. So, what will happen, ma'am, to employees or officials who declares a false information in their statement of assets, liabilities, and net?
Okay, magandang tanong po yan. Thank you for the question. Kasi meron po tayong duty sa mga nasa gobyerno. May duty tayo to submit our SALN, Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth. Taon-taon po yan or kung aalis ka na ng gobyerno, false declaration dyan sa SALN that may kumbaga that may give rise to administrative as well as criminal cases. Basta po mapapatunayan muna. Kasi kung sino naman po ang nag-a-allege na merong pong false information doon, siya naman po ang magpapatunay na yun po talaga ay false. So it will undergo a process at titingnan naman po yan yung mga evidence on hand whether meron po talagang falsity doon sa mga nakasulat sa SALN.
Thank you, ma'am. And speaking of good faith po pala, ma'am, can good faith lessen or extinguish culpability of an objectively unethical act?
Good faith. Ang good faith kasi
Yes,
naman,
ma'am.
hindi naman nakikita ang good faith, di ba? Kumbaga nasa utak siya, nasa tao siya. Kumbaga makikita mo yung good faith sa manifestation ng tao. 'Di ba? So, yun naman ang ano niya, kung i-allege mo yung good faith, dapat aligned pa rin naman yung mga actions doon sa sinasabi mong good faith. Kasi minsan marami sa mga cases nag-a-allege it was done in good faith, etc. But we take a look at the totality. Ano yung mga pangyayari? What evidence do we have when we appreciate all these things? Whether pwedeng makredit sa kanya, ma-appreciate yung good faith.
Thank you, ma'am. Again, we have a question from the chat box po. Gift giving is a part of our culture since Filipinos are known to being hospitable. What are the exceptions in giving gifts, if there are any?
Ayan, magandang tanong din yan kasi it has been an issue na paulit-ulit po. And kasi tayo merong mga batas, we have yung Code of Conduct na sinabi ko, meron din tayong mga anti-corruption laws. Pero sa RA 6713, pag sinabi kasing gift, ito yung binigay para, for example, merong nag-a-anticipate siya ng magandang action sa opisina or doon sa tao na binigyan niya. So this is given in anticipation of or in exchange of a favor. Kasali yan sa ano. Ang exception naman kasi, lahat naman may exception, hindi daw kasali dito yung mga nominal or insignificant value. Kaya lang, what is nominal and what is insignificant, yan yung malaki pa ring debate, di ba? Because for someone who's earning this, pwedeng nominal sa kanya yung value ng isang iPad, pero sa isa namang earning this much, parang hindi, di ba? Malaking bagay na yon. But yun ang nakalagay sa batas. So, ang exception dyan is nominal, insignificant value na gifts, at ito ay ibinigay not in anticipation of or in exchange for any favor. So, yan yung nasa batas natin.
Thank you, ma'am. We have another question. This is with regards po as since kadamihan po ng mga participants po natin are civil servants, is there a natural preference to the public over government employees? Or something like, ma'am, the saying, customers are always right when it comes to government agencies?
Mm-hmm. At totoo naman po talaga yan. Sabi, the customer is king. Sino yung customer natin? Dapat na-define yan ng mga bawat ahensya. Kasi bawat ahensya, kanya-kanya namang customer. Di ba? Pwedeng customer ka ng isa, pero ng isang ahensya, hindi. So, ganun pa rin naman. We always put our customers at the center of our services. Kaya tatanungin natin, how are we giving the service to the people? But of course, we also take into consideration that civil servants are people too. Diba? Napapagod din tayo na kumbaga may mga issues din tayong pinagdadaanan, yung mga nasa public hospitals natin, napapagod din sila. Pero sabi ko nga, that's not really an excuse para sungitan mo yung tao. But yun, ang napansin ko lang talaga kasi ngayon, medyo iba na yung public because siguro masyado nang empowered yung ating mga citizens, which is a good thing dahil naipaglalaban yung tama. Pero ganun pa rin yung na akala nila tama rin sila, but we also have to respect yung right ng ating mga civil servants kasi kahit po nandyan sabi natin the customer is always right, the customer is king, hindi naman po kailangang tarayan yung mga civil servants at hindi naman binibigyan nitong saying na ito yung public natin para murahin tayo, diba? So two-way naman yan. Respeto pa rin sa bawat isa. Pero totoo po yan. The customer is always right or is king.
Thank you, ma'am. Well said po. And we have another question from Sir Mark Christopher Roy Montemayor. Given the legal framework of ethics and accountability, which is strongly believed exists for a noble cause, how do we reinforce this legal framework and reverse the continuous erosion of public trust and re-establish citizen-government relations?
Magandang tanong kasi yun, alam natin what is happening. Some of us have experienced, some of us are experiencing at this moment itong mga bagay na sinasabi nyo. But ang natin is, what can we do? Kami naman sa mandato namin sa CSC, andyan yung sa learning and development namin, we have to remind people in the public service of all the values that we have. And nagpapasalamat ako kasi through this webinar, I am also able to, remind civil servants who are here and hopefully to rekindle that passion to work in government kasi nakakalimutan natin. So with you, I can see 107 people here in this webinar. Sana pagtapos nito, you'll be able to tell a person na ay ganito dapat sa gobyerno. Not only tell but look, mag-reflect tayo sa sarili and start doing a small thing at a time. So ganun siguro kasi mahirap. It's difficult to change the world. It's difficult to change the government. So sabi nga namin dito, one day at a time. Ako nga sabi ko parang si Steve Jobs, we just want to have to put a dent on public service in such a way na dito sa Bicol sabihin lang na maayos yung mga civil servants dito sa Bicol.
Yes, ma'am, that is true. We have another question from LGU Matnog from Ma'am Rumida Naag. May epekto po ba sa public service ang appointment ng political accommodations, lalo na po sa local government units?
Ayan, issue talaga yan, political accommodation. Ito realidad. Hindi ko na lang sasabihin kung ano. Di ba nagkampanya kay Mayor? Siyempre, expected mo, mapasok ka, ma-appoint ka pag nanalo si Mayor. So, ano ibibigay sa yung position ni Mayor kung walang bakante? Dahil limited lang naman po yung mga positions sa local government unit. Kasi alam niyo siguro na may cap ang personal services, di ba? Sa local government. Hindi pwedeng madaming posisyon, wala na silang pera. Meron tayong tinatawag na 45-55 salary limitation. So saan yan pinapasok? Kaya di ba ang dami nating job order, ang dami nating contracts of service. Kasi doon nila na ipapasok yung mga hindi nila maipasok na permanent. Diba? Yung parang ito yung pasasalamat dahil nagkampanya ka sa akin. Unfortunately po, ang mga job orders and contracts of services, hindi po yan covered ng civil service. At hindi rin po sila considered as government employees. That's why hands off po kami sa contract of service at job order. Pero yun po ang nangyayari. And we hear like endo, including endo in the government service, but unfortunately, andyan pa rin po siya. Although meron nang naipalabas ang COA at ang DBM na mga guidelines when it comes to our contract of services, Kaya lang nag-pandemic, so meron namang consideration kasi marami nga naman ang nawala ng trabaho. But these are realities that we have to face. And when it comes naman to career positions, yes, we hear na kasi tao to ni Mayor, siya yung na-appoint. Pero ang tatanungin lang naman natin, dumaan po ba yan sa proseso ng recruitment? Qualified po ba yan? Kasi kung hindi po qualified, sulatan niyo po kami. Titingnan namin kung ano. At hindi naman po yung nakakalusot sa aming mga field offices. We review all the appointments issued by the mayors. Pag hindi naman po yan nakita, dinidisapprove naman po yan pag hindi qualified at hindi dumaan sa proseso. So rest assured that we are doing our job sa checking ng mga tinatawag na political accommodation. But kung dumaan po yan sa proseso at qualified naman yung tao, talagang i-attest po namin yung appointment ng tao. Kahit sabihin nyo pang political accommodation. Kasi we also respect the wide latitude of discretion given to the mayor as the appointing authority.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope that satisfied your question, ma'am. I'm speaking of job orders po and contractuals. We have a question which is related to that. They are asking from BO Open University the latest update on the joint circular ng DBM and CSC about the contractual job orders and agency hired personnel working in the government agency.
Okay. Unfortunately po, hindi nakasama ang CSC sa joint circular. It's now just the COA and the DBM. And I think hanggang December of this year, yung last nilang circular. So we'll wait for announcements from the COA and the DBM.
Thank you, ma'am. We have another question from Toyota Albay, from Ms. Krisha May Malasa. Hello, Attorney Daisy. For example, a private employee decided to apply to a certain government agency. What's their probability po to be employed given na may credentials naman siya, like civil service eligibility and such? Thank you so much po.
Okay, I cannot give you, thank you for the question, but I cannot give you yung probability rate kasi kagaya sa amin, ang may bigay kong example sa amin, nag-publish kami and ang dami talagang nag-apply. So we have criteria. So sinasala namin yan, may examination hanggang makarating ka sa final assessment. So ang ano ko lang is assess yourself against the published qualifications. Dapat kasi meron ka nun. Hindi lang eligibility, sasabihin natin, eligible naman ako bakit hindi ako nakuha? Kasi lalo na ngayon, ang sinasabi namin ay competency-based na po kasi ang pag-empleyo sa gobyerno. What do we mean by this? Hindi na lang po siya na-meet mo yung education, yung experience, yung training at eligibility. Dapat nagpo-possess ka din ng tinatawag nating competencies. Kasi ang papel, yes, sa papel may masters ka, pero pag pinatrabaho ka, hindi mo naman nagagawa. Di ba? So if I were the appointing authority, titingnan ko yun. O nga, may PhD ito, pero bakit pag pinatrabaho ko, hindi nga makasubmit ng isang technical paper, ng report, pinapagawa ko ng ganyan. So, competency na po ngayon. Yes, this eligibility will give you, kumbaga, maipapasok ka niya sa door. But, kailangan mong pasahan na dapat competent ka. For example, itong position na to, naghahanap ng competency in writing effectively. Dapat meron ka nun. Diba? Marunong kang magsulat at may parameters yan. Or speaking effectively. O diba kasama yan sa assessment ng ahensya. So it's not just you have the eligibility. I hope you will develop the competencies in you. Writing, speaking, planning. Ang dami pong competency. Ngayon, IT. Ang mga hinahanap ngayon dahil Fourth Industrial Revolution, na ano pa ng pandemic, IT. So sana yan ang mga i-develop natin para po mapasok tayo sa gobyerno.
Thank you, ma'am. Another question, pero from the FB Live po. How do you, or what are the measures that you can suggest po to promote service with integrity and excellence in the government.
Ano po yun? Pakiulit.
Ma'am, what are the measures that you can suggest to promote service with integrity and excellence in the government po?
Wow, yung mantra namin. Maraming salamat. Service with integrity and excellence. I have been advocating that since I became the acting regional director, and up to now that I'm the full-fledged regional director. Dito lang sa amin, nag-concentrate po ako sa employee engagement because I believe in the formula. Alam niyo yung formulang EX equals CX? If you've met that formula, that only means employee experience equals customer experience. Because I believe that if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your customers. So hindi nila susungitan yung mga customers ng opisina dahil we have taken care of them. Yan po yung ginagamit ko ngayon, and I'm laying down the foundation for our employee engagement program dahil itong mga taong to ang magdi-deliver ng services, at kung masaya sila, masaya din yung mga kliyente namin. So yun po yung aking tinututok ngayon. And of course, integrity and excellence, ang palagi kong sinasabi sa amin dito, do not put your initial or signature on a paper that you are not proud of. If it's a report, dapat completed staff work yan. So that's excellence. Dapat it should mirror, kasi binigyan mo ako ng report tapos ang daming mali, ang daming typo, yung grammar, hindi mo man lang chinek. That's not being excellent. So give me, sabi ko, put your signature or your initial on a document that you can be proud of. But of course, dahil may accountability din, you also have to take that into consideration. So integrity and excellence, yan lang naman dahil because these are our core values in the Civil Service Commission.
Thank you, ma'am. So last two questions na po. We have a very interesting question here po, ma'am, because this is actually, I thought di na po to issue, pero I ask lang po ni Sir Mausol Celso, given the no noon break policy sa government, some of the offices or local government units still don't practice this. So paano po ito na monitor ng CSC?
Okay, maraming salamat po. Paki-report lang po sa amin kung ano yung mga agencies na hindi nagpa-practice ng no noon break so that we can also remind them. And by the way, yung ARTA po kasi nasa Anti-Red Tape Authority na, medyo tinanggalan din naman kami. Nagpasa kasi ng batas yung Kongreso, yung Ease of Doing Business Act that amended the ARTA of 2007. Nagkaroon po ahensya under the Office of the President, yung Anti-Red Tape Authority. Sila na po ngayon ang nagmo-monitor. But nonetheless, report it to us and I'll be glad to monitor and ask our field offices to remind these agencies to observe the no noon break policy.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope, Sir Celso, your question is satisfied na po. And lastly, last question, ma'am, to ano po ba yun? To summarize everything, how do you assess ethics and integrity in the government nowadays po?
Naku, parang pang world peace yung tanong, ano?
Yes, ma'am. Pang Miss Universe po. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have marami na akong dumaan sa aming kaso. Siyempre, andyan yung breach hindi lang ng ethics integrity, maraming kaso. You have heard of all these cases. Pero ang ano naman kasi niyan is, it all boils down, sabi ko nga kanina, sa personal values natin. I still believe na mas marami pa rin naman sa gobyerno ang may ethics at integridad. Kaya lang po ang na-highlight lang ay yung mga wala. Di ba? Parang in a basket full of apples, yung mga rotten apples ang nakikita kesa yung magaganda. That's why siguro i-encourage ko po ang lahat, kung may nakita man kayong maganda or na-experience na maganda sa gobyerno, siguro it's high time to report this. Ito yung ipa-trending natin kasi I think mas marami pa rin po ang matitino sa gobyerno. And I hope you join me na mas padamihin yung mga matitino sa gobyerno.
Yes, ma'am. I totally agree. Like we just need to promote the positivity, the positive side of the government and stop the hate. So there you go, ma'am, Sir Henry and Ma'am Christy. Thank you, ma'am, for your wonderful answers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Andre and Attorney Baragais, ma'am. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so once
Okay.
again from Jesse M. Robredo Institute of Governance and Development Graduate School, we would like to express our heartfelt thanks to Attorney Daisy. I'm quite sure that all of gained a lot of insights from you, ma'am, and for facilitating our open forum. Thank you, Sir Andre. And of course, to everyone for the engagement and candor that you all have contributed to this event. But of course, we will not end this day without sealing it with the impressions we just have had a while back. Let's cite our takeaway from today's meeting. So let's call on our optimist and dedicated class president, Mr. Justin Dayandante, for the impressions or closing remarks. Sir?
Hello po. Good noon po everyone. Am I heard po?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead, sir.
Good noon everyone. Thank you po for the opportunity given to me to do the impression on this morning session. Indeed, our resource speaker showed expertise on the topic, ethics, integrity, and accountability. For such, these are some of the noteworthy takeaways. We are social beings, capable to relate well with others. God gave us intellect and thereby capable to think, act, and choose what is right from wrong. Every individual has a moral obligation to defend one's life and the life of others. More importantly, when an oppressive person or group takes advantage of others, especially the marginalized sectors. Each of us has different roles and responsibilities that needs the integrity of one's action related to our work. And so many people would entrust resources, manpower, and even their lives because they know how accountable you are in your work. When one acts with a dictate on his heart, he will always see to it that it would always be for the good of everyone, not his own intention. The world today is in chaos. Why? It is because of the many irresponsible and self-interest people making room only for themselves and their own benefits. But naniniwala po ako na it's not too far from late because we can change. We can influence others if it only starts from returning back to the basics. By looking within our hearts, we are moved to aim the goodness of everyone. Kahit po pa konti-konti, know that it's the little things that make the big things happen. We can contribute to change the world if it only starts within ourselves and when we act in accordance for the growth of every individual person. Sabi nga po ni no-share ng Nas Daily, what comes out of your mouth is a lot more important than how you look in today's world. And syempre po, because today's session is very remarkable, hindi pwede pong wala tayong selfie sa ating subject matter expert. Kaya naman po, RD Daisy, can we request po a virtual selfie? The Technical and Documentation Committee po, we will assist and will take the picture.
Yes po, ako na lang po, sir.
Thank you, Sir Kurt. So I think first frame po muna tayo. Kindly open the cameras. Okay. Let's wait for the others. Pwede po pwede po bang itanggalin po muna natin yung mask natin kahit 3 seconds lang po para makita naman po yung kagandahan at kagwapuhan po natin. 3 seconds lang. Okay.
1, 2, 3. One, two, three.
Okay? Okay na po ba, Sir Kurt? Or isa pa po?
Sir, okay na po. Kaso masyado po tayong madami dahil po more than 100 po. Parang ang na-capture lang po is parang 25 lang po yung nasa front po. So,
Okay
ganun
lang po yun. Okay, thank you for that, Sir Kurt. So at this point, classmates, professors, resource speaker, and participants, we are beyond grateful for your presence and participation to this activity. A million thanks po sa mga committees na nagpuyat and did their best for the better results through proper coordination and exerted immeasurable efforts. Thank you po, Bicol University President, Dr. Arnulfo Mascareñas, Dean of Bicol University Graduate School, Dr. Herbert Rosana, Professor Rowena Soylo of Bicol University Extension and Management Division, and Dr. Renelyn Bautista of Bicol University Office of the President. Thank you po sa support. To our professor, Dr. Rose Frias, and also to Dr. Noemi. Thank you so much po for giving the class the opportunity to be more knowledgeable on the field we are taking. To our resource speaker, RD Daisy, thank you so much po, RD, for imparting your knowledge. In behalf of the entire team, the technical team, Ma'am Gina, Ma'am Chris, Sir Deo, we would like to extend our sincerest gratitude to everyone. We may be tired physically, but our hearts must never get tired of being happy. Diyos mabalos po, stay safe, and have a nice day ahead. At this point, once again po, I'll give the floor sa ating program host for the important announcement and update. Thank you po.
Thank you, Sir Justin. Ma'am Christy, do we have announcements, please?
Okay, so we have come to the end of this program for the first day, yet our exciting journey in this webinar series has just begun. So I'm 100% sure that everyone here has learned a thing from our interesting and then comprehensive discussion today. And then, of course, our second resource speaker has also a lot of things to offer as well for tomorrow's discussion, which is one of the most interesting topics also in the public administration. So for tomorrow's discussion, our topic will focus on the relevance of the Mandanas-Garcia ruling and its effects on the future of local government service in 2022 and beyond. So see you at the same link and at the same time, everyone.
So, ladies and
Sir
gentlemen,
Henry.
that wraps up our morning. On behalf of the Bicol University, Jesse M. Robredo Institute of Governance and Development, we would like to thank you for the engagement that you have contributed to this event.
Yes, it's been a pleasure being with you all of today. We have appreciated for making time or for graciously reaching out to us despite your hectic schedules. Once again, this is Chris Joy Linaha.
This is Henry Maceda and saying thank you and you have a great day to all. Goodbye. Thank you so much.
Goodbye po. Thank you po.
Bye po.
Thank you so